bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
Hello, baby. Yeah.
This is Sports X Radio.
Hey, Ken.
Yeah.
Just heads up, I called Brad right now. He's got his services on the machine right now.
I know that Brad's here. You made it here, buddy.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
That's okay. So hopefully you hear
To
everybody.
get results.
Yeah.
Talk in my ear if you don't, because they can't
Okay,
hear
yeah.
you.
Hey, can Brad just do a little mic check
Yeah,
if
go
he's
ahead.
free?
And Buffalo and Las Vegas Boulevard.
Perfect. I hear you, Brad.
We love this
JD,
place.
wait.
Rob Ritchie
Yeah,
Farmers
JD?
Insurance. 744.
Yep. You said check 1, check 2.
Okay, cool.
All right, cool. My bad, Ken.
Pot him up.
Building Las Vegas.
All right, brother. We're back in 15.
All right,
The
you're up.
Raiders. PromoDirect.com. 10% discount code K-10 at checkout. Get Ken's picks at pregame.com. Let's do this. Sports X Radio with Ken Thompson.
Come with me.
That's right. On a Friday football fiasco live at Legacy Stadium, Ken Thompson, Brad Powers, J.D. Sharp. Yes, we are going to roll through all the college and pro football games. We go at a rapid pace. If you miss any of the show, go back to the archives. Go to sportsxradio.com. Right there under archive heading on the homepage, and you can catch the show back in its entirety. No commercials. That'll go up about midnight, a little after midnight, because I go and put the plays in over at the Super Contest. So I'm over there at the Westgate for a little bit. But, yeah, it should be up by about 12:30 Pacific and be ready in time for all the games. Pretty good week last week for all of us. And Toledo Tommy, got to give a shout-out to Toledo Tommy. He goes back, he grades all the games, and so far he sent back this result, that if J.D. Sharp and Brad Powers, when they've agreed on games so far this year, 98 times they've agreed on sides, 56, 41, and 1. That's not too shabby. That'll make you some money. Legacy Stadium open 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Happy hour Monday through Friday. Ladies' night on Wednesday, 607-2665, 607-2665. Use that 702 area code. It is a sports fan's paradise. Venetian, I would tell you, you best get rooms this weekend if you want to enjoy. There may be a few rooms left, but starting on Monday, I know they're sold out pretty much. Every now and then you do have some cancellations, but for SEMA, the big automotive show, this place is just top of the line. It is packed. And it's going to be a great event. As always, my good pal Hammond Meredith coming in town. Venetian, 866-263-2999, 866-263-2999. No need to upgrade. All rooms are suites, 1, 2, 3, and 4-bedroom suites. First glass of One Hope Chardonnay or Cabernet, or your first Bud Light draft on the house when you come to Legacy Stadium, and mention KDWN, or just tell them Sports X Radio with Ken Thompson. And again, vote it the best sports lounge by Vegas 7. Also, the LVRJ has it as one of the top 10 sports bars in the country, and that's also an opinion by Yahoo Sports. So it is Legacy Stadium right here inside the beautiful Venetian Palazzo. A Friday night football fiasco. Gentlemen, good to see both of you. J.D. Sharp, everything going great. It was great to be on your show, The Vegas Take, which, of course, right here on KDWN, 9 a.m. to noon, Monday through Friday. A day off because you and Chris Wynn didn't have to deal with Shapiro today on Friday.
That's very, very true. No Brian Shapiro today during the show, but we definitely enjoyed it. Had a good segment with you, KT.
Thanks for having me, KT. Good seeing you, buddy.
And now, BP, I got the little text there that you thought maybe you'd be stuck in traffic and didn't know if you'd be able to make it down here. It could have been on the pregame.com celebrity guest line, but instead you show up wearing your Notre Dame hat, and I got to give you credit. Those Notre Dame hats, they're on sale after that Michigan debacle.
Absolutely, yeah, at least half off.
But you were, of course, on Michigan with KT. We made some pretty good money. JD made his biggest bet, I think, on Michigan.
I did. My biggest college bet of the year on Michigan. I made a good chunk of change. But then again, I lost the next day on the Browns, so that worked out really well in my favor.
All right, so we're trying, let me see. Right now we're trying to get JD's mic up just a sec. Okay, let me see if I can't find that. That's why. All right, let's see if that might work there. Hopefully that works, JD. Try one more time. Let me see.
Yep, we good?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not hearing you at all, so that's the whole thing. I don't know if Brad's able to pot you up there. We'll wait and see if things pan out. Let me see if we can get it here. We tried to do mic checks, but it's tough because the other show comes in on an ISDN line. Test 1 2 1 2. So that'll work right there, Sean. I'm going to switch and give Brad my mic, and BP, you can pull that over there. Go ahead, and we'll get JD. That should be good.
Yep, check one, check one.
Okay, so hopefully that works better. Sean will let me know back at the studio, and we will start rolling through these college football games. We'll get into the NFL in the next hour and 50 minutes. We'll go through all these games, and we'll start it off with of course, the NC State Wake Forest game, I believe, is the first one on the docket. And if I miss any games or go out of order, guys, because I have everything, but then there's certain games that I know we're going to elaborate a little bit more on that I don't have on the sheet. I actually have on cards. And so we'll wait and see how everything rolls on. Navy and Connecticut right now on the Richard Badge Finley Toyota out-of-town scoreboard. Last I saw was 49-10. The Middies really putting it on Connecticut. And it's not a good Connecticut team. But the game was close for a little bit. Lo and behold, Brad, you had the over in that game. So that pans out. I think it was 54.5, bet down from 56. And it's 56-10 the final. Navy rolls. Easy cover for the midshipmen. Tell you what, Malcolm Perry is one hell of a quarterback, and we watched Keenan Reynolds for many years. Malcolm Perry could be that guy that's going to grab that torch from Keenan Reynolds as far as being one of the best quarterbacks in Navy history. Of course, none better than Roger the Dodger Staubach.
Yeah, and obviously Ricky Dobbs was a good one there, also there. But, Malcolm Perry, much improved passer this year, and that's what has made him, such a dual threat because the running's never been an issue for him. The fact that he's an improved passer makes Navy one of the most improved teams in the country.
JD, you doing betting as far as the NBA? Are you?
I had the Pacers -7 today, parlayed with the Flyers puck line. I believe the Pacers pushed that game.
They did. 102.95, and what was the other one?
The Flyers puck line.
Philly wins in a shootout.
Okay,
so they were 4-3.
I'm sure I made a little bit of money, not too much.
Not good. Well, you don't win the puck line. I mean, you took plus the puck and a half. Plus the puck and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, we're not used to that. I mean, most people that take the run line, they're going to bet the favorite, trying to make some money. Same thing on the favorite, trying to make some money on the puck line. But, yeah, sometimes it's smart to go with the puck line, the plus 1.5.
Right.
And Philly actually gets the win outright.
And I've actually had a really strong hockey season. I just started, wagering hockey, but I've had a very strong hockey season. Except I had the Knights last night, and that worked out really well in my favor as well.
Yeah, no, that didn't work out good. And Chris Wynn was on that. All you had to know is that C. Wynn was on it. You knew you could rip the ticket up right there.
And then it's just over.
4-2, they were up, and they lose 5-4 in overtime to the Habs, the Montreal Canadiens, getting the best of them.
I did take the Canadiens live in that game.
All right, real quick, Richard Badgen, one time we'll give the Finley Toyota out-of-town scoreboard. Nets 123 over the Rockets, 116 at home. Bucks blow out the Magic in Orlando, 123-91. Pacers, as JD said, 102-95, knock off the Cavs at home. Celtics nip the Knicks, 104-102. How about the Knicks? Plus 11.5, closing number at 9, so the money went the right way there. Bulls 112-106. They knock off the Pistons at home in the Windy City. Right now, Lakers up 2. They were down 12 early in the game against Dallas. Third quarter, 5:18 to go, 70-68. Lakers lead the Mavs in Big D at the half. Kings 51-48 up on top of the Jazz, looking for their first win for Luke Walton. They're 0-5 out of the gate. And the Spurs lead the Warriors 39-33. Of course, Steph Curry out for about 3 months now with that broken hand. Spurs up by 6, 8:04 to go. In the NHL, 3 games going right now. Dallas 2-1, doubling up on Colorado, 13:58 to go. Avalanche off to that really solid start, but struggling a little bit of late. Anaheim 1-0, second period, 13:54 to go in that second. They lead Vancouver at home and Winnipeg on the road at the Shark Tank. Minute 57 to go first period, also a 1-0 lead over San Jose. Finals, we talked about Philly shootout, getting past Jersey 4-3. Washington at home, no problem with Buffalo, 6-1. They rout the Sabres. Islanders take care of business over the Tampa Bay Lightning, who look like a shell of themselves from last year's regular season team. 5-2, the Islanders get the win at home. Carolina football score over Detroit, 7-3, and 4-3. St. Louis in OT gets a win. The defending Stanley Cup champions knocking off the Columbus Blue Jackets. And without further ado, we're going to get into these games. But you know what? It just occurred to me that we still have our folks here. A lot of them, snowbirds that make it down here. How about those fans in here yesterday to see those Montreal Canadiens? They always bring a nice little contingency. And we do have Montreal was in action at Ottawa, 42-32. Alouettes get the win. I don't know if it's the Alouettes still, but Ottawa, they get that win at Ottawa, and they were -7, so they cover that, and they also cover the second half as well. Nice effort there by Montreal. So got to get all those scores in. All right, guys, we'll go 44 games. Last week we had 54, so we're going to make it no problem. NC State will take on Wake Forest. That line right now, Wake Forest at home in Winston-Salem, -7.5. Total of 60.5. Devin Leary will get the start again for NC State. Last week, 2 weeks ago, hooked up with Devin Carter. 6 receptions, 140 yards there. Thayer Thomas also had a couple touchdown receptions. BC, though, rushed for 429 yards on that Wolfpack defense. Jamie Newman still listed as questionable last we saw. They'll look for Sage Surratt and Scotty Washington, 2 outstanding receivers. They'll rely on Carlos Basham, 5.5 sacks. Start with Brad in this one, 7.5. You're not sold on this Wake Forest team.
No, I'm not. It's a Wake Forest team that's 4-1 in games decided by 6 points or less. Jamie Newman, you mentioned it, still questionable for him here. NC State's going to make a quarterback change. They're going to go with Leary at quarterback, Devin Leary at quarterback for them. I'm going to take the Wolfpack here, plus 7.5.
Yeah, I lean NC State here, KT.
All right, so NC State for both the guys. I'm not going to lean on the Pack. We'll wait and see how that pans out there with Doran's squad right now, catching 7.5. You give up 429 yards to BC. I'm kind of leery of taking Leary in NC State. Liberty went against them last week. Actually had Rutgers on the money line. How cool was that? Rutgers winning at 44-34. Calvert did an okay job. Joshua Mack actually had 109 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, but Rutgers really clamped down, got the lead, and never looked back. They only punted once in that game. 463 total yards for Rutgers. That scares me with Liberty, but they are playing UMass. So UMass, their only win at home by 8 points over Akron. We'll get to them a little bit later. Right now, Liberty laying 23.5. It's up 2 points, 69.5 the total, Brad.
Yeah, a lot of points. I mean, it's the most points Liberty's ever laid against an FBS opponent. If we can treat Massachusetts as an FBS opponent, I've never had a team power rated lower than UMass, ever. And I've been doing power ratings now for 10-plus years. With that being said, this isn't cheap if you're looking to back Liberty. I'd actually lean UMass.
And let me ask you something, because we talked about this last week, because UMass at home beat Akron by 8 points. So how close is Akron to UMass power ratings?
3-4 points. Keep in mind, Akron was laying 8 on the road in that game. So they've tightened up a little bit, but I'd still have Akron the better team.
I mean, for me, it's Liberty or nothing. UMass gives up 6.6 yards a carry. I think they've given up a total of about 60 touchdowns on the year. They really can't play offense very well. For me, again, it's Liberty or no bet.
There you go, Liberty or death for JD, no doubt. ODU at FIU, an FIU team with James Morgan at the helm that, very inconsistent under Butch Davis, not so last year, but Jones and Maxwell on the ground, 12 touchdowns, Thornton, 4 touchdown receptions. But this ODU offense, Old Dominion, it's just so porous. Doesn't matter if it's Smart, who's got 5 rushing touchdowns. DeWeaver actually has been quarterbacking, because Keyshawn Strong also, the receiver, is really the only guy, or maybe on the ground, that's been able to produce touchdowns. 6 of 8 games, they have 17 or less points. This Old Dominion team, this is just not a team I want to back right now. FIU, though, they're laying a bundle, 17.5, up from 15.5. ODU does play good defense at times, but I can only look at the boys at home, the Panthers.
Yeah, this is an Old Dominion team that I just read an article, I think it was earlier today. They're down 20-some scholarships, so they're well under the 85 scholarship limit at this point as far as healthy players go. It's a little pricey now at this point with all the money coming in on FIU, just a lean for me.
Yeah, I lean under in this game, KT.
All right, that total again is 48. So JD leaning under as far as that goes. Troy and Coastal Carolina, Caleb Barker and the Trojans on the road, a 1-point favorite, 60.5 against the Chanticleers. Carpenter doing a nice job quarterbacking for Coastal. Barker has some help. He's got Khalil McLean and Kaler Geiger. Both these guys, Kalen Geiger, they have 10 touchdown receptions between the two of them. Troy on the road, a 1-point favorite, 60.5 from Coastal, Brad.
I think Troy's only favorite here because of past reputation. I mean, they've been one of the flag bearers of the Sun Belt the last decade or so. Coastal Carolina is relatively new. Statistically, they're both about the same, and both have played similar strength of schedules. So Coastal coming off a bye, I'm leaning with the Chanticleers here.
Total pass, KT.
Total pass. By the way, we do have injuries that we'll get to just in case there are some guys that you're looking at. I do have the main starters. We'll do those according to how the time's going. And as far as the weather, not any real bad weather. Outside of Buffalo at eastern Michigan, looks like 40% chance of rain there and 30% in central Michigan. Other than that, looks like it'll be pretty good. Notre Dame, 30% chance of showers there during the game. But just some wind at about 5 or 6 other venues, up over 11 miles an hour. The highest, actually, Rutgers at Illinois and Champaign, 14 miles an hour. So we'll make comments on those when need be. Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech, a Pittsburgh team that really disappointing. I mean, Narduzzi's defense playing pretty well, but the offense just doesn't score enough points. And they squander a lot of points inside the red zone. We saw them do that several times against Penn State. It's a team that, quite frankly, could be unbeaten when you look at Pittsburgh. They lost to Miami, the game they led for 59 minutes last week. They lose to Penn State, a game they could have easily won. I'm looking at this Narduzzi team, and they held Miami to 208 yards, and a lot of that was Jaron Williams on that final drive, who came in and replaced N'Kosi Perry. Georgia Tech coming off a bye after they beat Miami themselves 28-21 down in South Beach. They'll rely on Jordan Mason, who had 141 yards and a touchdown in that game. The Rambling Wreck going to catch 8 at home from the Panthers, 44 the total, Brad.
Yeah, I'm leaning Pitt. I think the two teams' last 2 games against Miami are giving us some value here. Georgia Tech got a misleading win over the Hurricanes 2 weeks ago. Pitt really statistically dominated Miami last week if you look at the box score, but somehow found a way to lose that game. Because of that, I'm leaning Pitt.
Yeah, I think Pitt is a good play here. I also like the under. I don't see Georgia Tech scoring many points at all in this game. Their quarterback is not accurate. They run the ball okay, but Pitt is actually great against the run and pretty good against the pass. And I like Pickett and his weapons over anything Georgia Tech has. I think Pitt and the under. I recommend teasing the two, and I think it would work out for you.
All right, so 44 and is the total right now in Pittsburgh. You like minus the 8 points. Nebraska, a team that JD has been pretty good on. That's, of course, where he hails from. Initially, he's from Iowa, but the family moved to Nebraska. The old man got a better deal on a house there, and this way it helped JD get a little extra betting money before he moved out to Vegas.
Absolutely.
The old man was able to, give him a little bit more in that stocking for Christmas.
Precisely what happened.
That's exactly how it worked out. All right, so Nebraska laying 3 and a hook now in West Lafayette. Total of 58. Looks like Rondale Moore will miss again. Purdue, the only 2 turnovers in the game against Illinois. They lose that game 24-6. Boy, it's just a Purdue team that Brad said would struggle in the rain. You heard him last week, said with the rain, this is a team that likes to pass. They held Illinois to 26 yards passing, but Illinois was looking to run the ball. Anthrop Hopkins and David Bell need to get it going this week for Jack Plummer. Adrian Martinez going to try and get Nebraska's offense rolling. Nebraska minus 3.5 in West Lafayette, 58 the total, Brett.
I'm going to go over. I think some suppressed scoring in that game last week is going to give us some value here, in that game being the Illinois-Purdue game for both teams. Over for me, especially with Martinez back at quarterback for the Huskers.
I will agree that the over, I think this line should be lower than it is. It indicates that Nebraska is going to get passed on quite a bit, but Nebraska has 2 really good cornerbacks in Lamar Jackson and DiCaprio Boudelaire. They're actually very good against the pass. They're not great against the run, but Purdue can't run. They're one of the worst teams at rushing in college football. I like Nebraska a lot here. Scott Frost really can't lose this game, or he's going to start getting heat from the boosters, and that is a big deal in a place like Lincoln. I like Nebraska to cover by 7 to 10 points.
Okay, I think it's a throwaway year for Nebraska again.
Again? I don't know.
No, they can't have 4 of those in a row.
If he lost every game the rest of the year, you think he's getting fired?
No, I agree.
All right.
No, but the pressure's
That's all
there.
I'm saying.
The pressure exists.
They need to get to a bowl game.
I agree.
They need them extra 15 practices.
They need to, as far as for self-gratification and for the Big Red fans to feel good about Frost. But he's not going anywhere. Let's face it. They wanted him. They went out and paid dearly for him. Got him to go over from Central Florida. He made the commitment.
And that being said, Frost is 1-7 on the road, which is one of the worst at Nebraska, which is obviously an issue. But this is just a really good matchup for them because their strengths are Purdue's strengths and Purdue's weaknesses. I mean, and Purdue's they can't run the ball, and Nebraska can run a little bit and they can pass a little bit. I think they can do enough to win the game.
JD, it's winter now in Lincoln. If you ask Scott Frost to do it again, does he stay in Orlando, love the weather, love the speed of the team that he has there, how dominant they were? Or does he go to his alma mater where he won a national title and take the job?
He goes
if he had
to his
to do it
alma
again,
mater.
you think?
I think he goes to Oregon.
Nobody offered that job, JD. I gave you 2 choices. You're going off the board.
I was told he was.
You're one of those guys like at a restaurant. They give you one from column A, one from column B. You're looking for column C.
I think he probably still goes to Nebraska under those circumstances.
Okay, so both guys agree there. All right, next game on the docket, we've got Houston and Central Florida. Speaking of UCF, Heupel and the guys, minus 22 at home, 71 the total. Central Florida team still led by the freshman Dylan Gabriel. Very solid quarterback. Like this kid a lot. How about Otis Anderson? 205 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Last game, Bentavious Thompson also had 87 and 2 touchdowns. Taking on Houston, nice effort by Clayton Tune, over 400 yards in their 34-31 loss to undefeated SMU. Mulbacar had 136 on the ground, and Marquez Stevenson, 5 receptions, 211 yards and 2 touchdowns. All that said, Brad, Houston on the road catching 22 against Central Florida, 71 the total. Boy, it's tough to go against this UCF team. I think Houston may be able to score some points. Do we look at the over, or is that total too high?
It seems about right to me. I got a slight lean on UCF here. I just think, people are overreacting to Houston almost beating SMU last week. I just think SMU's overrated.
I agree.
And to me, how could you not be impressed with what UCF did to Temple? They embarrassed the Owls
63,
on the road.
That's right. 63 against a decent Temple defense. JD?
I lean the under here, KT.
Okay, we're going to look at the under 71. So there it is. That answers my question. Open to 70, up to 71, but JD going to go under in this game. Michigan and Maryland, and it's a Michigan team coming off their best game of the year as far as putting everything together, rolling Notre Dame big time. Shea Patterson, just 6 completions for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Hassan Haskins picking things up, 149 yards on the ground. Charbonnet had 74 and 2 touchdowns. Receiving core kind of everything kind of balanced out, but I really like the way that Michigan played. They held Notre Dame to 180 yards. Outstanding effort. Since the after the first quarter of that Penn State game, Michigan has outscored or outgained Penn State and Notre Dame by better than 2.5 to 1, I believe it is, in those last 7 quarters of Michigan football. They're going to go to Maryland. Tyler DeSue actually got some action there, but Pegram is listed as probable now. He had 2 interceptions in that loss. They got crushed at Minnesota 52-10 in Minneapolis. Gave up 498 yards to the Gophers. Javon Leak, Anthony McFarland, they're both going to play. Tayon Fleet Davis, good receiver. Doesn't matter who quarterbacks Maryland's going to be up against it because that defense just can't stop anybody, Brad.
No, they can't. I think obviously some value gone with the line going up throughout the course of the week, but I just think, forget Michigan's motivation whether or not to get margin. They just might get margin just by running it down Maryland's throat. Maryland team got run over by Minnesota last week. How does Michigan not do the same here? I'd lean Wolverines.
Yeah, I totally agree. Michigan minus 21.5 here. I don't see the game just playing out any different than the Minnesota game. It just seems like a very similar score. Michigan actually probably has a more disciplined defense. Shea Patterson's looked really, really good the last couple of weeks. I'm excited to watch his progression. Michigan actually probably has better wide receivers than Minnesota does. Yeah, you got to go Wolverines here.
All right, they're minus 21 even, 57.5 here at CGT. Next game on the docket, we've got Northwestern and Indiana, and it is Indiana minus 9.5 in Bloomington, total of 43.5, and it is an Indiana team that got things together last week. Peyton Ramsey, 351 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception in the 38-31 win against Nebraska. Stevie Scott had a nice game as well. Fillier, 14 receptions, 178 yards. That's a season for some of these guys in D1 football. Northwestern, Aiden Smith will lead the way with Drake Anderson in the backfield. A 20-0 shellacking, I should say, at home in Evanston against Iowa. One of those games that if you had the under, you were laughing the whole way. There's no chance that both those teams were going to score a lot of points.
The total was only like 36, 37.
Boy, I'm telling you, and second half, Fez, I got to give him credit. He played the Northwestern team total under 7. That's how bad. That's his alma mater, Northwestern. Right now, Indiana minus 9.5, 43.5, Brad.
Oh, it's down to 9.5?
Down to 9.5.
Big time money coming in on Northwestern here. Yeah, I think there's some value gone. I will say I played Northwestern in the Golden Nugget contest plus the 11.5. I feel pretty good about that. Northwestern, double-digit road dog since 2008, 12-2 against the spread. Double digits on the road. They've actually have a winning record in those games, 8-6. Give me the Wildcats.
All right, JD.
I lean under here, KT. I don't see this Northwestern offense scoring many points, and I believe this defense will be decently stingy against Indiana. If they're going to keep it close, it's got to go under, in my opinion.
I'll take Indiana. I'll lay the points. I know them. I just don't see
right,
where Northwestern. Yeah, I just don't see where Northwestern's.
Well, what line we doing?
We'll go 10. We'll go right in the middle.
All right, 10.
All right, right. What the heck? I'll
Fair
give you
enough.
make sure. Yeah, it's down to 9.5, but I'll give you. We'll go 10 there.
All right.
Akron and Bowling Green. Bowling Green at home. Brad's alma mater down to 4. BG minus 450
Holy
and a
cow.
half against Akron. So you pounded that as well. You're going to. But you like your alma mater in this one.
Yeah, I lean that way. How could you? To me, that's got to be sharp money because who's betting Akron? They're 0-8 against the spread. They're the only winless team in the country when it comes to covering the spread. They've scored 3 points in their last 3 games combined, minus 29 in sack differential. Did you see that, KT? They've only got 5 sacks on defense. They've allowed 34 on offense. lean with the Falcons here. Ziggy Zumba.
I've got an absolute total pass here, and I feel great about it, KT.
There you go. Absolute total pass. It is Bowling Green minus 450.5. Brad's alma mater with Grant Loy leading the way. Cato Nelson, by the way, has been reinstated off his suspension there for Akron. Meanwhile, Rutgers at Illinois. Talked about Rutgers getting the win against Liberty. Now they're going to catch 20 points in Champaign. Illinois the favorite there. 49 the total. And Lovey's boys playing good ball. I mean, they're bowl bound right now. It looks like Brandon Peters leads the way. Some pretty good running backs. Dre Brown doing his job. A couple receivers that are decent, and Bonner and Corbin also decent running backs. So you have three guys back there that all ran well against Purdue. Like I said, they only threw for 26 yards, but got the win 24-6. Didn't turn the ball over, and that's what Lovey's looking for. Don't turn it over. We'll have a chance to shorten the game with our running attack and try and steal some of these games. You know, they made a nice comeback against Michigan, ended up getting a cover at home after pulling within one score. Your take on this one, Brad? Illinois minus 20, 49 against Rutgers.
Yeah, 20 sounds about right to me. Although, I mean, Rutgers did find a little bit of an offense last week. I mean, the interim head coach said it took them about a month to install it, and they ran their quarterback. In fact, it was the first time a Rutgers quarterback ran for more than 100 yards since 1961. KT, you remember that? You're in high school, right?
I was a senior, no doubt, and I'm still a senior.
So, what's your pick, Brad?
Oh, fair enough. I'll go over.
I was looking at the over. I like Rutgers to cover in this game, KT.
Right. I like that too.
Rutgers is plus 20 and the total 49. So JD will give you both of those, and we'll give Brad the total over the total 49. Cincinnati and East Carolina, very good Cincinnati team. Only loss on the year to Ohio State. Des Ridder, very solid quarterback. Forrest, pretty solid as well. How about Cincy, plus 9 in the turnover department? Forrest is their safety with 61 tackles. Also, Hicks has 4 interceptions for the Bearcats, pretty good as well. Meanwhile, East Carolina, they got crushed by South Florida at home big time. I mean, they just got pummeled big time. Holton Ahlers struggled in that game. Decent, running backs, but, at times they step up. Actually, not running backs, receivers. Johnson, Snead, and Prohl. Ricky Prohl's nephew, I believe, is one of the running backs there for East Carolina. But this is a team right now that's going backwards offensively, and I can't take them. Cincinnati minus 24, big ones. 48 as money continues to come in on the Bearcats, Brad.
It's too many points. I mean, it's the biggest favorite role for Cincinnati over an FBS team in 4 years. I mean, I think it's just an overreaction to how pathetic East Carolina was last week. I actually lean the Pirates.
JD?
Yeah, it looks to me like a 37-10 or a 34-10 type of game. I do think Cincinnati covers it, but I like the under, KT.
All right, so we'll look at the under there. Total of 48, staying steady. We'll do 2 more games, then we'll take a break. Boston College and Syracuse. The Cuse at home minus 3, down from 4.5, 59.5 is the total there. Tommy DeVito struggled last week in the loss, 35-17 at Florida State. DeVito just 151 yards passing. He rushed for 38, but you had to rely really on Mo Neal and Abdul Adams out of the backfield. They got the 2 touchdowns, 130 yards on the ground. Meanwhile, Boston College, Brad and I talked about it, how Dennis Grosel is just not a quarterback we want to put our money on. He was 3 of 14 for 53 yards. Now, granted, going against Clemson, and that is one of the best defenses in the country. A.J. Dillon, 76 on the ground and a touchdown. Boston College right now going to catch a field goal, 59.5. Is this a good spot for the Cuse to get a win? They have no wins inside the conference.
I'm not sure, KT. I'm certainly leaning BC here. I mean, the problem with Syracuse is, they've allowed 42 sacks already. 42. Problem is BC only has 8 on defense. So the one weakness that Syracuse has, I'm not sure BC can take advantage of it. 3 sounds about right to me, but I'd actually lean BC.
JD?
Yeah, I lean BC as well. Syracuse has also given up 17 touchdowns on the ground and about 4.5 yards a carry, and BC has 2 backs, 240 to 250, just bruisers in there. It's gonna be a really good game for me. It's a pass, but I think BC covers.
All right, last game before the break, Buffalo and Eastern Michigan. Eastern Mich at home. Buffalo comes off a home win. They are -1. Eastern Mich sees that total of 50. Mike Glass III. Decent game last week in the tough 37-34 loss to Toledo on the road. Shaq Van had 110 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Glass threw for 286 and a touchdown, but 2 interceptions. Actually, no, he didn't have any interceptions. He actually had 1 on the ground, one rushing touchdown as well. So 1 by the airwaves, 1 on the ground. Buffalo, 5 takeaways against Central Michigan. That was the difference in that game, and got a bunch of them in the first half. Kyle Van Treese had some short fields, and Jared Patterson had an outstanding game, 149 on the ground, another 59 on 2 receptions. We'll see how this pans out, but right now, looking at the line, we got Buffalo on the road, a 1-point favorite at Eastern Mich. Total of 50, could have some rain. Remember, 30 to 40% chance of rain, 11-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah, that concerns me a little bit because I'm leaning more towards the over here. I know Eastern Michigan got some scores in overtime last week, but they got that offense going a little bit. And Buffalo actually surprised me offensively last week. I was concerned from the quarterback spot for them. Lean over for me.
Yeah, total pass, KT.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the first segment. We'll take a few minutes here, break-wise. When we come back, a very big game in the coastal half of the ACC with Virginia and North Carolina. Those two teams right now, both 3-2 on that half, and the winner gets to be fodder there for Clemson, unless Pittsburgh, they're still alive as well. We'll talk about that when we get back. That line has North Carolina at home, -2, total of 48. Think about that one. We'll come back. SportsX Radio. It is a Friday football fiasco live at Legacy Stadium inside the beautiful Venetian Palazzo. Ken Thompson. Follow me on Twitter at SportsX Radio, at BradPower7, at IMJD Sharp. Follow us all. Again, the archive goes up at about 12:30 a.m. Pacific time, so you can go back and listen prior to the games, and we will get to the NFL as well, so you'll be able to listen if you want on Saturday to take our opinions on the NFL games, which will be in the final half hour. We're live from Vegas, the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN. Live from Vegas. We'll be right back.
Now, Chuck, I know that you're the brains behind DLC, but you really have some amazing staff members.
Our customers just love them, Craig. How many loan companies do you know with thousands of great reviews on Google and Yelp?
None. That's how many.
Check this out. Quite a few of our staff even started out as Dollar Loan Center customers and had such a good experience, they came to work for us. Our goal has always been to make people feel comfortable and treat them with respect, and our staff nails it.
What's that saying you have?
Yeah, it's tough enough for someone to have to walk through a strange set of doors because they need a quick loan. The least we can do at Dollar Loan Center is treat them like $1 million and send them home with a few hundred.
Amen, brother. That was Chuck, founder of DLC, where you can get up to $5,000 in minutes at over 50 locations. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed by the Data Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
Doctors Without Borders teams confront hard facts in conflict and crisis zones. When others look away, we step in. Because measles still kills more than 100,000 children every year. We're there to vaccinate more than 1 million. Because some countries have only 1 or 2 mental health professionals. We provided over 400,000 mental health consultations last year. The fact is, your support makes our life-saving work possible. Picture the impact we can have together. DoctorsWithoutBorders.org.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, over-designed, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 6655 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 6655. Enjoy.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
Insurance is the ultimate peace of mind, but are you getting the best price? Farmers Insurance is a name you can trust. And Rob Rishi is making sure you don't pay too much. Auto, home, boat, pets, small business, renters, and the important life insurance at a great price and service. Rob Rishi Farmers Insurance Agency is on Warm Springs by the airport. Endorsements for Uber and Lyft drivers. Rob Rishi Farmers Insurance Agency is open every day till 7 p.m. 702-335-5744. 335-5744. Job less, Espanol. Promo Direct, the #1 rated promotional product store. Since 1991, Promo Direct will help you generate new customers and retain existing ones too. Apparel, bags, drinkware, pens, and more. Promo Direct has over 8,000 products you can put your logo on and call your own. With Promo Direct's low price guarantee, free artwork, on-time delivery, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, Promo Direct can't be beat. Allow us to win you over with our award-winning customer service. Visit us at promodirect.com or call 800-748-6150. Again, promodirect.com or call 800-748-6150. Enhance and build your business today.
A union we can count on. A union with a legacy, known for hard work and getting things done. We're the ones who built this city with pride. Our members are our family, and their well-being is our #1 priority. Laborers Union Local 872. Vegas strong, Union proud.
Steiner's, the Nevada-style pub, invites you to play the best tavern, keno, and video poker in Vegas. Promos are how we roll, so make the most of your gaming dollars here with us. Not only great gaming that Steiner's Pub has, to 24 awesome rotating draft beers, and Vegas' best appetizers to match. If that isn't enough, football and hockey season is here too. Play our current gaming promotion, home runs and hat tricks, and receive daily free play while enjoying Miller and Sam Adams beers, with a chance to win 12 pairs of Vegas Golden Knights Class C tickets. Get out with us to support your Las Vegas Aviators, Golden Knights, Runnin' Rebels, UFC Trojans, and the Raiders, as we make history in Vegas. Steiner's, the Nevada-style pub at 8410 West Cheyenne, 1750 North Buffalo, and Las Vegas Boulevard at Windmill. Steiner's, I love this place.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
Not everybody's working for the weekend. We're doing our work right now over here at Sports X Radio on a Friday football fiasco. Ken Thompson, Brad Powers, J.D. Sharp, live at Legacy Stadium inside the beautiful Venetian. And, we're doing our handicapping homework. We've been doing that all week. Brad and I actually do a Dream Pod with R.J. Bell, and that comes out on Wednesday mornings. We do that on Tuesday, so we get rolling quick into the week. Then J.D. Sharp, of course, he's got his own show right here on KDWN Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon Pacific time with Brian Shapiro, Chris Wynn in there as well. A great cast of characters. By the way, they have a YouTube channel, the Vegas Take YouTube channel, and you can also watch right now. You can watch the show, the Friday Football Fiasco, on that same the Vegas Take, their YouTube feed right there. We're going live right from Legacy Stadium, so a chance for you to see the guys and enjoy the show. Looking forward to a big weekend of college football and a lot of good weather, which I like. I like when rain and wind doesn't really come into play. I like to see some true results, and I think we're going to have some great games over the weekend. Not as many marquee teams from the top 10 because a lot of those teams have byes this week. The Alabamas, the LSUs, of course, those two will tangle next week. Brad, your feeling on Tua Tagovailoa, whether or not you think he'll be able to go off that high ankle sprain surgery?
Yeah, I think he will. The question is he going to be 100%? I mean, because to me, the marketable price, obviously, in or out, he's going to be worth about a touchdown. What they won't necessarily get right is how effective it will be. Is he 75%? Is he 80%? That could be all the difference in the world.
Did you see, JD, the surgery that he had? It's called tightrope surgery, where they actually put the rope through to two pieces of rope through two pins in the ankle, and it's supposed to strengthen that ankle. So if he is coming back and if he is close to 100%, I'll just say, JD, where are you leaning?
Well, Derek Stingley and Grant Delpit were both hurt.
Good point.
And Grant Delpit and Derek, I would say Stingley is definitely an All-American at this point. Delpit's probably a top 5 pick at safety. He's an unbelievable player at safety. LSU has a ton of athletes. They just haven't played that well defensively this year so far. I still love that offense. I watched Clyde Edwards-Helaire play, and that Auburn D-line is unbelievable. They're not going to play a D-line like that ever again, at least not this year, LSU is. And Edwards-Helaire, he kind of looked like a slower Barry Sanders with the way that he kind of operated and moved around. I love the weapons. I think Alabama's pretty overrated. I would still lean LSU even if Tua played. But again, if Stingley and Delpit aren't playing, then it's tough. Then I think it'd probably be a pass for me. But I would probably go with the over.
Brad, of course, AP flipping where LSU moves to number 1. Alabama drops to number 2. Is that like another AP
Ohio
move
State's the best team in the country.
Well, we've been saying that for a long time, but your feeling here as far as LSU and
maybe it's a little bit of a motivating factor for Saban, but if you're not going to be motivated for an LSU game, what the hell?
No, I'm not saying they're not going to be. Well, who would you take? Is what I'm saying right now.
Right now,
if you know
if Tua is 100% healthy, I take Alabama.
I'm with you.
Certainly.
The line was what? I think it's -6. I saw.
Yeah, -6, -7. He makes. J.D. makes a great point. I mean, if Stingley and Delpit can't go, what's Alabama's strength?
Right,
Wide receivers.
Then it's a
I mean, that's a
no-brainer.
horrible mismatch then.
But if they can go, LSU goes 6'3", 360, 6'4", 320. I mean, they have some monsters on the D line. And I don't think Najee Harris and Brian Robinson are gonna have very good games. And Joe Burrow has proven himself to me. And again, he's got weapons. He's got Jefferson, Marshall. He's
As
got
good as
Thaddeus
you think
Moss.
that secondary is,
Yeah.
they've not played any receiving core like this. Who have they played? that
Who's
hasn't-
Alabama play?
But I'm saying, but I know, but everybody's
Yeah,
talking
I know.
about that. Well, you tell me who
And
LSU has
let's-
stopped
and-
offensively.
and
Who's good?
Let's talk about Bama's wide receiver core. Devontae Smith is 6'1", 170. He's a stick. Jerry Jeudy, again, these guys aren't.
Yeah, but
like
you gotta
big,
be able to
strong
catch
guys, but
those
they're-
guys.
Yeah, but Derek Stingley runs a 4.3. I mean,
Yeah, but he can't cover four guys.
I agree. But Christian,
You got Ruggs?
Christian Fulton's a top 10 pick too. It sounds like.
And Najee Harris, by the way, is a pretty darn good receiver out of the backfield.
I agree. I think it's. And have you seen a game where Tua Tagovailoa has played good defense and done well? And, I mean, does he perform well under pressure? Because to me, he doesn't.
Here's what we can bet on. It's going to be the highest total in the history of an Alabama LSU series.
Yeah, I saw that. I think it was 62.5. Is what
I'll
came
take
out
the
I saw.
over.
Yeah.
Will you?
Yeah, I will.
Two very, very powerful offenses. LSU does not give up a lot of touchdowns. I don't know. I like LSU.
Except when they're playing Texas.
Well,
Yeah, that's true. If
and
if Stingley
Texas
and
now
Delpit
we
play.
look at Texas in that offense. Again, I'm not sold on that offense being that great.
And Florida went up and down the field. Keep in mind, Florida's last two possessions were inside the LSU 10, came away with 0 points. Otherwise, Florida's putting 40 on them.
And that's with a new quarterback. That's with Trask taking over.
First road start.
That's right. So we'll wait and see how this all pans out.
I love the passion, though.
Maybe both these teams
Absolutely,
are
man.
overrated. How
Well,
cool
you
would
know,
that be if
I
neither
like-
one of them
I like
made
them
it?
as the number 2 team. I like Ohio State is number 1, obviously.
All right,
And
we'll
you know
see.
what? Penn State's creeping. So is Minnesota. Minnesota's got a real team this year, guys, in my opinion.
All right, we'll wait and see. PJ Fleck. All right, we'll see how that goes. that schedule.
He's rowing the boat already.
That
Who
schedule's
have
been
they
an
played?
absolute
Elite.
joke.
Use the word elite.
They
100
could have
times.
lost to Georgia Southern, who actually
Yeah,
showed
or
up last night
Fresno,
and got a win.
or
Fresno.
South Dakota State.
And Georgia Southern just beat Appalachian State.
Right, that's what I was getting to that. I was getting to that. And okay, so let's roll on through, guys. We'll pick up the pace here. We'll go at about 100 miles an hour so we can catch up here. We're going to pick it up with Virginia at North Carolina. Heels under Mac Brown, doing a pretty nice job as far as competitiveness. And, of course, came within 1 point of knocking off Clemson. Went for the 2-pointer to win it. Didn't get it at Chapel Hill, but now they're at home again. -2 against Bryce Perkins and Virginia. Virginia team that I'm kind of disappointed in. They lose last week to Louisville 28-21. Dubois, pretty solid receiver. Toole, pop out of the backfield, had a couple touchdowns. But this Virginia team struggling. North Carolina with Sam Howell at the quarterback helm. They get by Duke 20-17. I had the Dukies plus 3.5, so I made some money. Newsom had a real nice game receiving, and Javonte Williams out of the backfield, pretty good, over 100 yards as well. What about it? North Carolina -2. Mac Brown's a motivator.
He is, but I mean, North Carolina's been good for TV this year. 7 games decided by 7 points or less that they played so far. I'm going to go lean over here.
Okay. I think UNC has too much offense for Virginia, to be honest with you. Virginia, when they lost Bryce Hall at cornerback, he was probably, a first-round guy. That was a big deal.
Yep.
UNC has too many good wide receivers. I like UNC with the points.
I'm disappointed big time in Virginia. Major
I am
disappointment.
too. Last week was abysmal.
Yeah, this team has regressed, and I remember that happened one time when Mendenhall was at BYU, that they had a pretty good team coming back, I think, Brad, one year, and they lost some games that we expected
Is
them
it
to
that
win.
year where they were playing well early and then it all fell apart when they got crushed by Florida State at home? Because I think they beat Oklahoma in the opener with Sam Bradford, the game he got hurt. And then they were like 3 or 4-0 in the top 10, and Florida State went in the Pro Bowl, killed them. And I think BYU finished like 8-5.
There you go. That could be. This guy's unbelievable. The way he remembers these seasons. He is Brad Powers at Brad Powers 7 at IMJD Sharp. As we roll on through here, next game. Speaking of BYU, they're right there in Logan against Utah State. I was able to make a dinner wager with the guys last week, and I had Air Force. They both had Utah State, and Utah State's still looking for their first down in that game. Utah State -3 at home against BYU, 50.5. I had some fun with this team. Look, Jordan Love, when you went to the Mountain West Media Day here in Vegas, they had little heart candies that said, love for Heisman, because it comes off this incredible year. But he lost 4 or 5 on the offensive line. This team, how about last week? They had 36 plays total. 36 plays against Air Force. They were outgained 472 to 128, and they got the only 2 turnovers of the game.
Yeah.
Air Force turned it off. That is absolutely mind-boggling. Gerald Bright, 6 carries for 24 yards. BYU comes off a bye after Romney took over and beat Boise State, so they're going into this week of practice on a high. Finau had a solid game on the ground, and Bushman, excellent tight end, good game receiving. I think BYU's got a great chance to win this game. It's a lot of these kids know each other. Brad, I told you I was not sold on Utah State. This team pales in comparison to the team from last year.
Yeah, I'm on BYU here. I like the spot. Keep in mind, look at BYU's schedule so far this year. Check how tough this was. Utah, Tennessee, USC, Washington, across the country at Toledo, at South Florida across the country, then Boise. Now they finally, sigh of relief, a bye, and now they're playing Little Brother, and this is only the second time in 33 meetings that Utah State's favored over BYU. The first time, BYU crushed them outright as a dog. I take BYU here.
Yeah, I was on Utah State last week, and it was just disgusting. It was a very, very hard game to watch because it just seemed like Air
because you were going up against KT,
that was part of it. And I also had a 6-teamer, and there was the last team on, and it was awful.
Oh, geez.
But Air Force kept ramming it down their throat, just up and down the field, and it was very difficult to watch. And that being said, I don't know why they're even favored in this game, considering what happened last week. So it's a pass for me.
There you go. I'm on Utah State with Brad. That's one of his big plays.
BYU.
BYU, against Utah State. That's one of Brad's big plays, so I'm on that for sure. Virginia Tech and Notre Dame. Nobody knows the Golden Domers better than Brad Powers, except when he lays those big points against USC, and I'm able to come back from 20-3 down and get a cover there. But realistically, Brad has been nails, whether he's with Notre Dame or against them. I got to say, since I've known him, his record's got to be at least 75%.
I don't think so.
Really? In the games that you and I did?
Really?
As far as on...
no, I'm at Notre Dame's like, I would say less than 50% last couple of years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm listening at the right times.
There you are.
There
Keep
you go.
it up.
I'll tell you exactly.
Plug your ears.
Notre Dame minus 17.5. 58 the total. You were against the Irish last week with Michigan, right?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, so Vatek coming off a bye after getting a 6 overtime victory against North Carolina. So at least it was fun to kind of go into practice there, right, VT?
Yeah, I'm worried because I think I really like Notre Dame's defensive coordinator, Clark Lee, but it was that USC game that, the things just turned in the second half. They couldn't get a stop against SC. They couldn't stop Michigan last week. And I like Virginia Tech here. 17.5 off a bye, feeling confident. That felt like a program-changing type of loss last week for Notre Dame.
Quincy Patterson going to go at quarterback because he had a pretty good game on the ground?
It looks like they might go back to Hendon Hooker. I'd rather have Patterson use more dynamic in the run game. They're going to play multiple quarterbacks is what I'm hearing.
Ryan Willis played as well. Hendon Hooker, he's been cleared to go. He threw for 127 and 1. He rushed for 41 yards, but Patterson rushed for 122 and a touchdown, and he threw for a touchdown as well.
Yeah, I lean Vatek here, KT. I think that Vatek, their athletes aren't significantly worse than Notre Dame. Notre Dame hasn't shown me anything. What do they have at wide receiver? What do they have at running back? I don't think they have enough offense to cover 17 in this game.
Yeah, I can't disagree. And it's not a dream crusher. It's a season crusher because when you get beat like they did last week, all of a sudden you have 2 losses.
They could actually lose this game.
And when Notre Dame doesn't have anything to play for in November, they're 6-15 against the spread in November the last 5 years.
Great stuff. Meanwhile, Oregon at USC. I've been to this game twice in the last 6 years. SC at home with the freshman Keaton Slovis. Kristen in the backfield. Stephen Carr still questionable, so Carr may be able to go. I like the way that they're giving the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown out of the backfield. Had 3 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown last week. Also 5 receptions. Pittman Jr., Vaughns, and Drake London stepped up. Also 7 receptions, 85 yards last week. The comeback against Colorado, down 10 with 6 minutes to go, found a way to get the win. And Steven Montez played very well. So SC fortunate to come back because that defense has been depleted. Now, John Houston, the linebacker, has been a steady guy there. Rector may be able to go there on the defensive line. They will miss Hufanga. Drake Jackson's out as well. Several other starters for Southern Cal banged up. For Oregon, find a way for the second time to get it done against a Washington school. They nip Washington State on the final drive at home at Autzen Stadium. Verdell had an incredible game on the ground, 257, 3 touchdowns, 4 receptions, 56 yards. But I'm telling you, this Oregon team, man, they're living on borrowed time. Very fortunate to come back from 10 down, 6 minutes to go to beat Washington and then beat Wazoo. Did not cover against Wazoo. We told you, all 3 of us were on that. Wazoo plus 14, probably the easiest cover of the day as you were, of the night. If you went to bed, you woke up, you're like, oh, these guys were dead on as far as that game. 10 straight times now Wazoo is covered in that series. Oregon down from 5.5 to 4, 62 the total from the Coliseum, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, a lean SC for me now. I'm with the number coming down. I mean, SC I think is a bad matchup for Oregon. I think their defense has been exposed the last couple of games against Washington and Washington State. And SC's good at home under Clay Helton, 23-3 straight up. Lean Trojans.
You know, if USC wins this game, is Urban Meyer the coach of the Trojans next year? Does Clay Helton get fired?
I don't know. I mean, right now the jury's out. I mean, there's a good chance for SC to win the South.
If they win out and win the South, you don't fire them.
No,
exactly.
you can't.
You can't fire him. And I think that Urban Meyer is most likely SC's next head coach with this new AD coming in. And that's just something I factor in. It's not a great matchup for Oregon, but it really depends on who's healthy in SC's secondary. Does Isaac Taylor Stewart play? Does Chris Steele play? Does Elijah Griffin play? Because if they don't play, I like Oregon to win this game by 7 and 10 points, but I can't really make an assumption until I know if they play or not.
Brad, what's the record for Helton at home?
23-3, straight up.
23-3 at the Coliseum. Outstanding stuff. Clay Helton at the Coliseum. A few more games we'll duck in. One of them, UCLA, playing very well the last two games. Went up against a third-string quarterback in Stanford to get a win, but last week, UCLA 42-10, pounding Herm Edwards in Arizona State, just crushing Sparky after three quarters. Sparky outscored them 22-0. UCLA called off the Dogs. Meanwhile, Montez told you he had a nice game against Southern Cal. Chenault had a big game. That's the guy we expected to see all season. Had 172 yards receiving and a touchdown. Tony Brown, 5 receptions as well. But I like the way Joshua Kelly's running the ball. 340 yards and 5 touchdowns in his last two games. Give me the Bruins. I'll lay the 6.5, 64.5 because DTR has been cleared. And I know he struggled, but he's starting to look like a pretty good quarterback of the last two games. Again, 176, 2 touchdowns, no picks, but he's taking care of the ball, and I think that's because you have a running back like Joshua Kelly that's taking pressure off you, Brad.
Yeah, it's a big game for Chip Kelly era here because if they can get this win here, that'd be 3 in a row for them, and the momentum would start to kick in. I'm leaning Bruins here.
Yeah, I lean Bruins in the over, KT.
All right, then we've got, and by the way, that over is 64.5. Kansas State and Kansas, Canles Miles. Get this one. More importantly, can he cover the spread for those that back the Jayhawks? It's down to 5 from 6.5, 54.5 from Lawrence. Carter Stanley, the last two games, 725 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, and 1 interception against Texas and the win over Texas Tech last week. Parchment, Lassiter, Robinson, pretty good receivers. Skylar Thompson, the big-time effort. Last week, rushed for 4 touchdowns, threw for 213. James Gilbert had 105 on the ground, and Dalton Schoen back had 5 receptions. K-State, 426 yards against Oklahoma, and the outright win against the Sooners. K-State's got to have some type of letdown. We'll see how it pans out with the new coach, Kleeman. It is K-State -5, Brad, 54.5 from Lawrence.
Yeah, I bet Kansas here, plus the 6. I think there's been a fundamental change for them the last couple games, that being a new offense coordinator, Brent Dearman. That offense looks like completely different here the last couple games. I'll take the Jayhawks here.
You know, KT, I lean over. I like Kansas, but they just cannot stop the run. Kansas State is going to run all over these guys, but Kansas is going to score points. I lean over here, KT.
All right, duck one more in before the break at the top. Texas State at UL Lafayette. Levi Lewis and company off a bye, or for a long time they've been off. Meanwhile, Tyler Vitt and Texas State, they're coming to calling after losing their last game to Arkansas State. This is a UL Lafayette team favored by 23, 55.5 the total. Calais and Mitchell, backfield, 253 yards, 4 touchdowns in their last win against Arkansas State. Brad, who do you like?
No like here, just a lean on UL Lafayette.
Total pass, KT.
All right, there it is. All right, halfway home. We'll pick it up with Vandy in South Carolina. We'll get in through all the college football, and we'll get into the NFL in the final 25 minutes. SportsX Radio coming at you on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN. Ken Thompson, Brad Powers, J.D. Sharp, live at Legacy Stadium. Sean McCullum back at the studio taking care of business. We'll let you know how you can give up a dead-end job when you come back. We're live from Vegas on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN. I'm Ken Thompson. You're listening to SportsX Radio.
Kilmeade, Hannity, Levin, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Hey, Shawnee.
Most people think all short-term lenders.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, buddy,
and
listen,
for the most part,
you're
they're
saying
right.
something like
but
1
those
minute,
people
don't
have
be
not
afraid to say,
discovered
hey,
how
1
quick,
minute.
easy,
I don't care if
safe,
it's
and
loud,
inexpensive
then I
it
can
is
hear
to
it,
get a
because
signature
otherwise
loan
I'm
at the
straining and I don't know
DLC.
what you said. So I'm anticipating and I'm looking around to try and see. I have an idea. Like I'm always watching
you got
the clock.
it. I just didn't want to disrupt you.
No, you're not, man.
At Dollar Loan Center, you can get a signature loan up to $5,000 in just minutes, and you don't need a checking account or collateral.
Then I'm
it's
trying to
easy to
figure out what you
qualify,
said.
and you only...
You got it. I'll talk just like this.
There you go, buddy. That's perfect, man. Great job, Shawnee.
All right, sounds good, man.
You're
We're
the
back
best.
in 5.
Thanks, pal.
Payday company.
You got it.
Really help. Give us a call, and we'll show you how much you can save by borrowing from us and paying off your other loans. Spoiler alert, it's a lot of money, sometimes over half. We love to say yes, give credit line increases, and we report your positive history to your credit.
Licensed by the Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
This is Harry Jacobs from Credit Restoration of Nevada, inviting you to join me for the Credit Show, Saturday mornings between 9 and 10, here on the new 101.5 FM and 720 AM, KDON.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
I'm attorney Glenn Lerner. After being a personal injury attorney for 28 years, I've learned a lot of things about insurance companies, and there are a few things I trust more than them. For example, I trust a rabid cobra protecting her babies. I trust a hungry grizzly bear with a steak in my pocket, and I trust a shark in my hot tub.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Get the picture? Hurt in a wreck and need a check? You know who you can trust. We're Lerner and Rowe.
Lerner and Rowe is the way to go. Call 877-1500.
Scott Guido, managing attorney. Kevin Rowe is only licensed in Arizona, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, and Illinois.
Hi, I'm Raymond Denon, Vice President of Optima Tax Relief. If you're in debt to the IRS, there's a lot you need to know. Starting with rule number 1, don't mess with the IRS. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, even take your home or business. That's all true. But it's also true that there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. It's one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, even tens of thousands. Nobody knows this program like us, the experts at Optima Tax Relief. We have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we've resolved over $500 million in tax debt for our clients. We'll stand between you and the IRS and fight to get you the best deal possible. Don't mess with the IRS. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, taking Nevadans to Capitol Hill for the latest on the federal issues that matter most to you.
Eye on Washington, Saturday morning at 9:30 on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
How did they not foul?
Yeah, 10 seconds. That was awesome.
He made 2 free throws, game's over.
What's your charge? Huh? What's your charge? You gotta make that.
That's a great.
Now what
good
are they
shot.
doing here?
Yeah, right there after. Try to get the charge.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage, $75 per month level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Termbusters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-800-569-5440. That's 1-800-569-5440. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Termbusters, 1-800-569-5440, or visit our website at termbusters.net. Remember, 1-800-569-5440. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
We'll be right there. 702-623-4AIR.
The last company you would want to call for your comfort needs would be Cal Air Cooling and Heating.
Look, after you've wasted your valuable time and money attempting to get a skilled, honest, professional technician to your home and being frustrated, call Cal Air. They'll be right there with the expertise, skills, and experience to handle all your cooling and heating needs. That's right, the last and only company you'll ever need to call is Cal Air Cooling and Heating, a local-owned and operated company for over 40 years by Cal Sanders and family. Free second opinion for any service, repair, or replacement over $500.
Cal Air, we'll be right there. 702-623-4AIR.
License number 18001A.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
It's just after 9 o'clock in Las Vegas, where we don't take kindly to sharks.
Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
Hello, baby. Yeah.
This is Sports X Radio with Ken Thompson.
At this point, it's all about family, making sure the family in the right environment. Coach Gruden has been nothing but family.
Presented by Panacea & Boyle, trial attorneys who get results. PSBLaw.com. Steiner's Pub, a true Nevada-style pub. Cheyenne, Buffalo, and Las Vegas Boulevard South. Steiner's, we love this place. Rob Rishi Farmers Insurance, 702-335-5744. Laborers Union, 872, building Las Vegas Stadium, future home of the Rays. PromoDirect.com. 10% discount code K-10 at checkout. Get Ken's picks at pregame.com. Let's do this. Sports X Radio with Ken Thompson.
Come with me.
That's right, on a Friday football fiasco, a real fiasco basketball-wise, NBA level. Lakers just tied it at the buzzer on a three-pointer by Danny Green. How the heck you even lead? They're down 3. Because Powell missed one of the 2 free throws that could have iced it for Dallas. And the game's going to go into overtime, tied at 103. But LeBron James drives to the rack with about 2.5 seconds left. Walk away. Let the guy dunk it. Instead, whoever was covering Danny Green, let him go, gets back on him, but falls for the pump fake. Green shoots it, makes it just ridiculous. I mean, when you're up 3 and there's inside 3 seconds, who cares if the guy dunks it? Give me the 1-point lead in possession. NBA, I'm taking it to half court. I'm not going to lose this game. Now they're in danger of losing it. Unbelievable. Millions of dollars coaching staffs make and can't let players know. Stay on your own freaking guy. Out 3-point country. We're up 3, not 2. Let LeBron go. Brad Powers, you were watching it.
Yeah, travesty. Unless you bet the Lakers.
Right. Did you?
No.
Okay. JD, you're an NBA bettor.
I am, but I did not touch this game. Although there's a lot of money right now on the Mavericks plus 1.5. I know that for a fact, and it's not my money.
Right. So a lot of people upset with that fan defense. There goes LeBron going to the rack. Look at that. 2.4 to go. He's a foot away, and then he fires it to the corner, and Danny Green knocks it down there after a pump fake. But right here, where LeBron's going hard to the rack, what are you doing? I mean, just let him go. And everybody stay on their own man if you're there. I mean, just pathetic defense. But you know what? That's all right. Give Mark Cuban a little bit of heartburn there, back there in Big D. Sports X Radio rolling at you Monday through Friday, right here 8 to 10 on the Flamethrower, KDWN. Lots of great listeners have come by the studio over here at Legacy Stadium over the last couple of weeks. It's great to see a lot of you. And, of course, Wednesday night I'm at Steiner's Pub, but Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday right here in the beautiful Venetian Palazzo at Legacy Stadium. And I do love both places. It is great to be set up on location. And on Friday nights, having these two guys with me makes time fly. Got a lot of college football to get into, the NFL as well. When we left off, we were talking Vandy in South Carolina. Next game on the docket, of course, Vandy, one of the wins for Tony Sanchez and a decisive win in Nashville a while ago. Tony under pressure now has got to really buckle down, hope to win his last 4 games, according to athletic director Desiree Francois, that he had to be bowl eligible. We'll see how that all pans out. Right now, South Carolina in Columbia minus 15.5, and it's a South Carolina team that will have Helinski at the helm. They gave up 485 yards to Tennessee. That hurts. Shi Smith, Brian Edwards, pretty good games. How about Javon Kinlaw threw a 75-yard touchdown pass. That's pretty unique there. But Vandy comes in. Mo Hassan off the bye, a 21-14 win against Mizzou in their last outing. Keyshawn Vaughn, 120 on the ground, 96 on the ground and a touchdown, and 80 via the airways on 4 receptions and a touchdown. Brad, your take on this Vandy team, because the offense is stagnant at times, but South Carolina, they had that marquee win against Georgia, but still inconsistent. Hard to lay 15.5.
Yeah, I agree with you, KT. My power rankings call for it, but, man, I just don't think you're paying a cheap price here if you're wanting to lay South Carolina. I think it's a bad spot for the Gamecocks here with Vandy coming off a bye.
I'm a big fan of South Carolina minus 15. I'm going to take them. I'm actually going to bet. I haven't bet it yet, but I will be betting South Carolina. Vanderbilt can't pass. They can run, but South Carolina is unbelievably good against the run. They run the ball well themselves. Lindsey's got a big arm. They've got a lot of athletes in their second. Have you ever seen Javon Kinlaw? He looks huge. He's a monster. I like South Carolina here, KT.
All right, we'll see how it pans out there for the Gamecocks, Northern Illinois, and Central Miss. Central Miss turned it over 5 times in their loss last week against Buffalo. Ja'Cory Sullivan had a nice game, 114 yards receiving. Ward on the ground struggled a little bit. Quentin Dormady with a couple touchdowns, but also 2 interceptions for the Chips. And they're taking on Northern Illinois, who comes off the 49-0 shellacking of Akron. Childers doing a pretty good job quarterbacking, through for 3 touchdowns, and Trey Harbison rushed for 158 and 2. Northern Illinois on the road, the boys from DeKalb, minus 1.5, 51. I'm going to look at Central here, Brad.
Yeah, I'm with you, KT. I'll take Central here. I just think Northern Illinois, why are they favored? Past reputation. Central was a 1-11 team last year, and they're much improved under Jim McElwain. And I get it, they got blown out last week, but that was because of turnovers. I mean, they were -4 in turnovers, and Buffalo scored 24 points off of them. That was the difference in the game. Give me the Chips.
Lean over here, KT.
All right, leaning over that total of 51, up from 49. Marshall and Rice, Thundering Herd on the road, favored 11.5 in Houston over the Rice Owls, 48.5 the total. Aston Walter still questionable as far as for Rice out of the backfield. They struggled with them in their last game, without him in their last game. Marshall, Isaiah Green, pretty solid. Brendan Knox out of the backfield last week, 224 and 2 touchdowns. That'll get it done most of the time. Don't know if I want to lay double digits on the Thundering Herd. A Rice team that plays hard just has trouble scoring points, Brad.
Yeah, I agree with that. And did you see the bad beat in the Southern Miss Rice game last week?
I did not.
So there's about 30 seconds left. Southern Miss just has to take a knee. It's over. Now they get a 40-yard touchdown run. And they're up 10 at the time. Or no, they're only up 7.
13
they ended
6,
up
right?
winning 20-6. They're laying
26.
10.
What was the spread on that game?
They were laying 10 points, won by 14 because of it.
Oh, my.
That was rough.
You're leaning what?
Marshall.
You're gonna
I lean
Marshall?
Rice.
Okay, so lean Rice, Brad, plus 11.5. JD leaning Marshall.
Yes.
KT staying away from that one. Meanwhile, Tony Sanchez, talking of Coach Sanchez and the Rebs, they are in Fort Collins to take on Colorado State, who comes off the 10-point win at Fresno State. UNLV, a heartbreak loss to San Diego State. I tweeted out a pass interference, a blatant pass interference that wasn't called against the Aztecs inside the last 2 minutes. I mean, literally holding the guy's jersey for about 7, 8 yards.
Were you there, KT?
No, I was watching.
Okay.
I was watching all the games. So I was watching that Fresno game as well, and I had Colorado State, which was great. But yeah, I was watching, and I actually tweeted that highlight to Tony Sanchez. So I was watching it because I'll watch all these games and I'll rewind them when I see something, a blatant missed call. In fact, I tried to get the Raiders, the Hopkins fumble. They never showed. I talked to Lincoln Kennedy. They never showed that replay there until right before Deshaun Watson was going to hike the next play. Somebody's got to be on top of it because it's the home team's camera. They're in charge of the camera operator, all this stuff, to where I don't get it. How can that replay not come out? How can you tell your guy, hey, challenge this, if you never see it, and then the next play is hiked? It's too late for that. And I just, just quite crazy. I mean, I've seen several times that's happened for teams on the road getting jobbed. UNLV is going to catch 7 now, only 7. 65 the total.
Oh, wow.
Rams were 10-point favorites, so a lot of money coming in on the Rebs.
Drop.
65 the total. I think the Rebs can win this game. I mean, I was impressed with Colorado State, and Patrick O'Brien did a nice job, and McElroy stepped in because we know that there's a suspension over there running back-wise for
Kinsey.
Colorado State. Right, Marvin Kinsey's been suspended indefinitely. Warren Jackson had 178 yards receiving last week for the Rams, too. He's a beast. Colorado State 7, 65, Brad.
Yeah, I think UNLV finally has a little bit of a passing game with Oblad at quarterback instead of Armani Rogers. I agree with the money here, although value gone. I mean, going from 10 to 7, I think you're chasing a little too much now at this point.
This is one of my favorite plays of the week, KT. I think UNLV does win the game outright. I love the spread, whether it's 7 or 10. Marvin Kinsey being gone is a huge deal. Colorado State cannot stop the run. UNLV can run, and that's been proven. They've run several times against several decent teams. And Oblad's got 4 good wide receivers. I like UNLV to win this game, KT.
Yeah, if Randall Grimes can step up, have a big game like he did last week. He did drop a pass, but had 5 receptions, 121. Williams back over 100 last week, 113 on the ground. We'll see how that all pans out. SMU and Memphis is a big one. The game day will be there in Memphis. Brady White and company coming off the near disaster in Tulsa. They were able to get a 1-point victory, 42-41. Hopefully they take care of business. They turn the ball over. If they turn the ball over, they're going to lose this game. They don't. I think they win the game. Gainwell's done an outstanding job out of the backfield, dual threat, and I love Coxey, one of the better receivers in the country. Him and Gibson, good combination. Shane Buechele, he's done all that SMU has asked from him and then some. 20 touchdowns, has the 7 picks. Xavier Jones on the ground, 14 touchdowns. Going to be a good one, Brad. I'm going to look at Memphis in this one. The home team, they're laying 6 now, up from 3. If you're getting to the dance late, you might think twice. 72 the total. The total tells me that it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think Memphis is going to get more stops than SMU.
Yeah, generally speaking, I think SMU's overrated. They're 4-0 in games decided by a touchdown or less, but this isn't cheap at this point. I think if this is 10, 15 years ago, this is more like what it opened, 3-4 points. Now it's up to 6. I'm passing.
Yeah, I'll lean under here, KT.
Under 72 for JD. Texas San Antonio in College Station against Texas A&M. Kellen Mond coming off a great game, 3 touchdown passes, 2 on the ground, and taking on a UTSA coming off a bye with Narcisse, the quarterback, and McCormick, the running back, both coming off good games. Isaiah Spiller also off a nice game for A&M. Aggies at home minus 38.5, 54.5 the total against the Roadrunners, Brad.
I'm on the over in this one.
Yeah, no play, KT. Pass.
Over 54.5 for Brad. Army and Air Force, this line from 14 to 16.5. I got it when it was 14. I like this Air Force team a lot. Like I said, the 2 fumbles last week. Other than that, 30-7 in first downs against Utah State. Utah State, 128 yards. We talked about it. Jackson, Remsburg, and Berdow, all outstanding games last week on the ground for the Force. They combined for 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards. And Army, I've been going against this team all year. This team is just not that good to me. They lose outright to San Jose State. Anderson and Walker, not bad running backs. I know it's a battle of service academies, and I know they're going to get up for this Commander-in-Chief's trophy. I just don't think Monken's offense is anywhere near Air Force's offense. Air Force 16.5, I still think there's value there. I think Air Force blows them out.
Yeah, 2 teams heading in opposite directions here. Air Force, 3 straight blowout wins, all against bowl caliber type opponents. Lean Air Force.
Yeah, lean under here, KT.
All right, under 45.5. Line already dropping 1.5 there at Colorado Springs. Oregon State and Arizona zone off the tough loss to Stanford, tied at 31. They end up losing that game by 10. Oregon State off the bye. Total is 72 in Tucson. And Khalil Tate probably going to start. Couple interceptions. He got pulled a little bit, and Grant Cannell, the freshman, stepped in that game against Stanford, was 7-7 with a touchdown pass. J.J. Taylor over 100 yards on the ground. Like the way Luton's throwing the ball. 16 touchdowns, just 1 pick on the year for the Beavs. Pierce doing a nice job running, and Hodgins, outstanding receiver. Jefferson may play also for Oregon State. Brad, Oregon State catching 5 in Tucson, 72.
Yeah, off the bye, I'm going to take the Beavers. They've really only played 1 bad game all year. That was at home against Utah.
A lot of points in this game. Neither defenses are even remotely decent. Both offenses are solid. I love the over.
All right, UAB and Tennessee from Knoxville. Vols off that big crushing of South Carolina. Guarantano and Trout both played there. Jennings and Callaway combined for 10 receptions, 276 and 3 touchdowns. Off the bye, UAB, Tyler Johnston leads the way. Spencer Brown may be back in the backfield. Blazers catching 13 from the Vols in Knoxville, 48.5, Brad.
Yeah, UAB so far has played the weakest strength of schedule in the entire country, number 130. That makes them a little bit overrated here. Give me the Volunteers.
Yeah, Tennessee just has better athletes across the board. They've got a lot of talent at wide receiver, a lot of talent at running back, better athletes defensively. I think Tennessee wins by 20.
Ole Miss, they're coming off a bye. They're going to play Auburn, comes off that heartbreak 23-20 loss in Baton Rouge. Bo Nix, yeah, he's the quarterback, and he battled it out with Gatewood, and Joey has stepped away. He has gone into the transfer portal now, so they don't have him to back up. Yeah, I mean, I thought they should have given this guy a chance many times when they were inside the 15-20 when they needed to run, and Bo Nix is not that good a runner.
Gatewood's 6'5", 230. He was 72% completion percentage. Nix was 56%. No reason that he shouldn't get more opportunities.
It's nepotism, baby. His dad quarterback in there, and that's the way it is, man. I mean, and I think Gatewood saw the writing on the wall. Meanwhile, Matt Corral and Ole Miss off that bye. I believe he'll go. Plumlee is ready to go again from what I saw. Ely out of the backfield. Phillips, Elijah Moore. Pretty good running game there for Ole Miss. In the game, Auburn laying 18.5, 53.5. I think that's too many points just because of the crushing loss to LSU, knowing that you're that close. I think Ole Miss can score points. I think this is a 15-point or less game. I think Auburn probably wins by maybe 10 or 7.
Totally agree with you. This is one I'm warming up to throughout the week. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Ole Miss coming off a bye, good spot. Auburn's got 2 losses now. What else do they have to play for? And check the injury report, KT. A couple key guys in Auburn really banged up in this game, including a couple of their defensive linemen.
Yeah, Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson, both questionable on that line.
Well, if they're questionable, they're not going to win the game, period, because that offense is not good. I like Mississippi here.
Okay, so I think all three of us on Ole Miss tomorrow. Meanwhile, the big one, the world's largest cocktail party, they don't call it that anymore, but we do here because it's just a cool name. I mean, we encourage no drinking and driving. At the end of the day, you have Uber and Lyft and have a hell of a cocktail party there. Georgia and Florida, it is Georgia -6, 45.5 is the total. And a Florida team that will be, of course, without their middle linebacker, David Reese, who's out for the year off the Achilles. But, you got Greenard and Zuniga back on the defense. Kadarius Toney now back to help the offense. Already have Jefferson and Grimes and Hammond, pretty good receivers.
Swain.
Pearson, Pirine, Swain as well, Kyle Pitts. They've got players, and Kyle Trask, I think, is maturing quicker than we all thought he may. Jake Fromm, guy's still a prolific passer as far as completion ratio. DeAndre Swift, outstanding running back. Great offensive line. Can they push Florida's defensive line around? If they can, they win the game. If not, Pickens, Cager potentially, don't know if he'll play, Blaylock and Robertson, these young receivers need to step up because they have not, and that's been the problem with Georgia. We'll find out because that win against Notre Dame by 6 at home doesn't look so good after the pasting Michigan put on the Fighting Irish. Georgia -6, 45.5. Braddock got as high as 6.5.
Yeah, I'm all over Florida here. If I'm stack ranking the Florida players, I think Zuniga, Toney, and Grenard are 3 of their probably top 8, 9 players. They're all back after missing time, and yet the market, in my opinion, is not reacting appropriately here. I'm on the Gators.
We've got a dinner bet lining up here because I like Georgia. They have not given up a rushing touchdown. They have 92 quarterback hurries on the year. I don't think Trask is going to handle the pressure very well. I think Georgia wins this game by 10 to 14 points.
I got it. Quarterback hurries. Georgia, if you breathe on the quarterback, it's a quarterback hurry. Going back to my Phil Steele days, they would have 50 more quarterback hurries at Georgia than any other team in the country.
We'll call it 42 quarterback hurries then.
There you go. All right, so I'll be with Brad. We'll go against Mark JD down there. JD, you're -6. We're giving you the good number there.
I like that.
All right, -6 against Brad and I. So this will be another dinner you'll be buying here at Legacy. I'll just save my tab for next month. TCU, Oklahoma State. Very impressed with TCU getting the win against Texas, closing things out. And I was very impressed the way that they were able to take care of business. Duggan, the youngster, actually outshined Ellinger.
Yeah.
Ellinger with 4 interceptions. That was brutal. And I got to give TCU credit. They came to play. Rieger was solid. Barber was solid. Alana Lua out of the backfield, pretty good. Oklahoma State, a major blow today. If you missed it, Tylen Wallace out for the year with an MCL injury. That is just brutal. He's got 53 receptions, 903, and 8 touchdowns. Chuba Hubbard going to have to be the man. He's going to have to take care of business, and Braden Johnson's going to have to step up on that receiving core. Boys in Stillwater, I thought could be a good spot for him, but didn't know Wallace was going to go down, so I'm staying away from this game. Line is down to 2.5. It went up as high as 3.5, 59.5 the total from Stillwater, and I may look under, Brad.
That's a good call there. Without one of their weapons, and TCU good defensively. Now, you got to think
they're going to run the ball more with Hubbard.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I'm with you. Lean under.
Yeah, lean under as well in this game. With Tylen Wallace going out, he had 8 touchdowns, 800 yards. Spencer Sanders has 13 TDs, 12 interceptions. 8 of those went to Tylen Wallace, and Chuba Hubbard is actually more of a straight line guy. He's not a consistent back, so I like the under.
All right, and there you go. And by the way, Brad, the only one to call Okie State over Iowa State last week.
That's how that works because, the previous week I took Oklahoma State. So I found a trend. Whenever I lose a best bet on a team, they usually perform well the next week.
There you go. All right, so that's it. We'll go with the do theory there the following week. UTEP in North Texas. I do have to give credit to Kyle Oxley, Mike's kid. This kid is a great athlete. Because UTEP offense was non-existent, but he had 227 yards passing. He rushed for a touchdown as well and got the offense going. They didn't win the game, but, they're up against it. He's just a good, solid athlete. They're going to play North Texas. Mason Fine threw for 394 and 5 touchdowns last week. He's got some good receivers. They lost that game, though, 39-38 to Charlotte. Now North Texas is going to lay 23.5 to UTEP, 60.5 the total. I'm going to look over here because I think Loxley's going to be able to put some points on the board against North Texas. I think Fine will have his way.
Yeah, that's the case then. Give me UTEP here.
Yeah, total pass, KT.
All right, so I'll lean with you on UTEP as well, Brad. Tulsa and Tulane. This will be a big one. How about Tulsa's 0-4 in the conference? I mean, they lose by 6 to SMU, a game they were winning by 3 scores. They lose last week to Memphis, a game they probably should have won. They've also lost to Navy and Cincinnati. Now they're playing Tulane, so they're playing the top 5 teams really in the conference because Houston down a little bit now. Zach Smith's doing a nice job. Shamari Brooks and Corey Taylor had 241 yards and 4 touchdowns against Memphis in the loss. They're going to take on Tulane. They're going to catch 10 big ones. I think that may be too many points. Tulane comes off the 41-38 loss to Navy. They trailed that game, however, 21-0, and then Justin McMillan got things rolling. Boy, I might stay away because Tulane really did get it going after that first quarter, Brad.
Yeah, they did. I mean, both teams off heartbreaking losses, final second type of losses.
Yep.
Tulsa missed a field goal. Tulane watched Navy kick a field goal. I'll say this, Tulsa, despite being 2-6, they're a much improved team this year. Slight lean on Tulsa.
Yeah, lean over, KT.
All right, Brad, JD leaning over. Mississippi State at Arkansas. Mississippi State favored by 7.5. Joe Moorhead's boys going into Arkansas, who got pasted by Alabama. Starkle, just miserable, 3 interception. John Stephen Jones came in, went 6 of 7, 49 yards and a touchdown. Rakeem Boyd and Whaley had decent games, but still, Arkansas no match in Tuscaloosa. For Mississippi State, we'll see how things pan out for a Bulldogs offense that's non-existent a lot of the time, although they had 3 turnovers in the loss last week. Mississippi State minus 7.5, 58.5, Brad.
I'd lean Arkansas. I don't want anything laying more than a touchdown on the road with this Mississippi State offense.
These are 2 teams I have no desire to even follow at this point. They're totally irrelevant. It's a total pass for me.
There you go, and that's my buddy Chuck Getto. You bet on crap, expect a crap result. So it doesn't matter who you take in that one. Both teams not playing well. Middle Tennessee State, they're 3.5-point favorites at Charlotte. Charlotte off the 1-point win, 39-38 over North Texas. Middle Tennessee State, nice effort by Asher O'Hara. Not passing the ball, but rushing for 159 and 2 touchdowns. McDonald and West also did a nice job getting 4 touchdowns for the Blue Raiders. They had a big offensive output, I should say. Chris Reynolds for Charlotte had a big game as well. 3 touchdown passes, and Benny LeMay on the ground, 155 and 2 scores for the 49ers. Charlotte catching 3.5 at home from Middle Tennessee, 65. This line has moved 3.5 points, Brad.
Yeah, too much now at this point. Give me the hook here. Give me the home dog, Charlotte, plus 3.5.
Yeah, lean over, KT.
And you're leaning over that total of 65. Florida Atlantic at Western Kentucky. Lane's boys on the road. Chris Robeson looking to keep things going. He's got Brian and Antoine, 2 pretty solid receivers, had 17 receptions for 161 and a touchdown. They held ODU to 204 yards. Now Western Kentucky, who fell down 14-0 at Marshall and lost 26-23. Ty Story, the transfer from Arkansas, doing a pretty good job. How about Lucky Jackson? What a cool name. 16 receptions, 168 via the airwaves. In this game, Western Kentucky at home, -1, 51.5, Brad.
Yeah, I like Western Kentucky here, who has the much better defense at home, laying a reasonable number. Keep in mind, Robeson for FAU is banged up a little bit. He's going to give it a go here, but is he going to be 100% the FAU quarterback? I've been really impressed with the Hilltoppers this year.
Yeah, lean WKU.
Yeah, I'm going to lean with you guys. Let's.
Oh, really?
Let's all go.
You're normally an FAU guy.
Well, I am. I liked Lane last week, but I don't like him here.
Yeah.
I like that defense of WKU. They're doing a nice job. First year for Helton, right?
Yep.
Doing a nice job.
Helton's
there.
brother.
There you go. Arkansas State, UL Monroe. UL Monroe off the bye, catching 2 against Arkansas State, 67.5. I had Arkansas State second half last week. They put it together. Lane Hatcher had a nice game. Marcel Murray on the ground as well, had a couple touchdowns. And Bayless, 2 more touchdowns via the airwaves. UL Monroe, Caleb Evans, the dual threat, coming off a bye after getting pasted by Appalachian State, 52-7 at home. Boy, I'll tell you, this UL Monroe team really down 2. Arkansas State favored, 67.5. I know Monroe's off the bye, but I think this kid Hatcher is a pretty good quarterback. I'm going to take the Red Wolves.
I'm with you, KT. Series history play of the week for me. Arkansas State, 9-0 straight up against UL Monroe, 9-0 against the spread against UL Monroe last 9 years. Make it 10.
Wow, you were waiting for me to go for Monroe, and then you're going to break that out, huh?
Yeah.
Should have waited till JD went.
Yeah.
JD, you got Monroe, don't you?
No, I have
All
the over.
right.
There's going to be a ton of points in this game.
I just couldn't get him on that one. All right, good stuff. How about Miami of Florida and Florida State? This game used to be one of the biggest. Now it's just another
bust.
game on the board.
It's a bust.
Yeah, well, it's still,
It's been competitive, though.
it's still a rivalry. I mean, it means a lot to the folks there. Florida State coming off the nice effort against Syracuse, winning by 18. Miami of Florida finding a way with Jaron Williams getting that last drive to knock off Pittsburgh. Williams will start the game. Perry, by the way, is just listed as questionable. We'll see how things pan out here. Only 208 total yards for Miami in that game against Pittsburgh. That is absolutely ridiculous. But Pittsburgh
And 65 was on the final drive.
That's right. And Pittsburgh -3 in the turnover department. That was the difference. For Florida State, it was Alex Hornibrook that actually led the way with 196 via the airwaves. Cam Akers is probable with the banged-up knee, 144 and 4 touchdowns last week over the Cuse. Let's see. Right now, sitting at 3-49. So this line has dropped a lot.
Yeah.
Look, I like Jaron Williams. If you told me he's not going to turn the ball over, then I'll take a shot on Miami. But I like the way Florida State's playing. I think if Hornibrook goes, I know they're going to give up more sacks. But at the end of the day, I'll take my chance because Miami doesn't get a lot of sacks, and I like the way Cam Akers is running the ball. I'll probably play Florida State.
I'm on Florida State, and I didn't think I'd say this, but I'll take Alex Hornibrook over at quarterback over anything Miami has. You look at the 3 starts Hornibrook's had at Florida State so far: Syracuse, NC State, Louisville. I mean, Miami's more talented, but they're not that much better than those 3 teams. Florida State's won all 3 of those games by double digits. I think they cover this 3-point spread.
Yeah, I think there's not a lot of points scored in this game. A lot of defensive athletes on both teams. Teams that have decent running attacks. Williams is going to turn the ball over a couple times. There's just too many good athletes on Florida State for that not to happen. And Florida State probably wins the game because Hornibrook is a good game manager. But I like the under here, KT.
But that's the thing. He doesn't make the mistake. He doesn't throw the interception. So, yes, he'll take more sacks, but he'll live to see another day where Blackman will force it and get it picked off. McKitty, Matthews, and Terry could have good games there for Florida State against Miami. We'll wait and see if the turnover chain, the 305 chain, comes out. If it does several times, Miami probably wins the game. Next game on the docket, how about New Mexico and Nevada? SportsX Michelle's bet of the week, Nevada at home. She said take them on the money line. She gave that out yesterday. She's hit 6 in a row. She's 29-13. Who am I to argue with bets like a girl?
Really?
For the love of God. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Every Thursday night, 42 plays, 29-13.
Well done, Michelle.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
that's almost a year. 1 play a week,
Yep.
29-13.
29-13.
That ain't too bad.
If you're betting $1,000 a game, absolutely well done.
I'm telling you what, that's Mike Scally. It's one of my listeners. He goes, KT, I'm up to a nickel a game now on SportsX Michelle's Bets Like a Girl. He listened to some of the reasoning, and some of it was bizarre. One time she flipped coins. I mean, it's just absolutely, it was unbelievable. And he goes, I don't care if she's flipping coins as long as she's winning. I'm taking it. It's Bets Like a Girl. It's just great stuff. I know, probably somebody like Kelly Stewart probably just going like, what the heck, man? But hey, what the heck? I mean, SportsX Michelle, if you're winning, I don't care how you're winning. Just give. I don't care what sport it is. You just tell me. What about it? Nevada -3.5, 58.5.
Yeah, the number looks cheap, man. I'm scared. I'm going to go a little bit square here, but I mean, how can it be square if it's 29-13 as far as their play of the week? I just think there's a discount on Nevada. Why? They're the worst team in the country, ATS margin-wise, but it was basically one game. They're a 3-point favorite against Hawaii. They lose by 51.
Right.
Take that one out. They've been okay.
There you go. I agree. And
That
a
was
lot
my
of people
play of the
saw
week,
that
too.
game. Good.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, I like the under, KT.
All right.
Really?
We'll wait and see.
Huh.
Yeah, well, New Mexico.
What do you got the total at? I need some
right
action
now,
with
58.5. 58.5. And remember, in that game last week, New Mexico and Hawaii took their starters out of 45-10.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's 45-31. They had to get an interception on the 5-yard line inside the final 2 minutes for KT to cover the 9.5.
Nevada's not pulling their starters.
Let's not do that anymore, Hawaii. All right, Nick, easy on that. Make sure the game's over.
Yeah.
The spread's over. Done. Next game, Utah and Washington. And I'm torn because Washington at home, it's always hard for me to go against this team. But Newton's going to miss this game. McGrew's questionable, but Ahmed's been outstanding when he's healthy on the ground. Eason's done a pretty good job there. Fuller, I think, will be able to gut it out as far as the ankle. But for Utah, I can't go against Huntley. I just can't. I like this guy a lot. I like Whittingham. I like Zach Moss. And I like the defense that I think is going to pressure Eason and could pressure him into some turnovers. I'm going to stay away from this one. I was leaning Utah, but Brad, I know you like Washington a lot, and you've been pretty good with Washington a couple times. BYU game you were dead on, and you were on as far as the Oregon game. They said they had no business not covering that game. Utah -3, 47.5.
Yeah, I'm on Washington here, although I will say I took the hook, the +3.5. Very important there around a key number of 3.
Right.
And here's what I see. I mean, I still think Chris Peterson's a top 10 coach nationally. I know he's had a disappointing year this year, but off a bye in the regular season, his entire career. We're going back to Boise. 18-0 straight up. He's never lost a game off a bye. I know he's a dog here, but that alone, I'll take the Huskies.
Yeah, I mean, under those circumstances, that definitely makes sense. I look at these two games, or these two teams in Washington. Their big advantage is special teams. They have a huge advantage at punter and kicker, in my personal opinion. But Utah's defensive line, they just don't give up rushing touchdowns or rushing yards for that matter. They have 4 good cornerbacks. They have 3 good wide receivers. They have a solid tight end. Huntley's about 75% completion percentage. The running back is consistent with Zach Moss. I do think East probably turns it over. I'm taking Utah here.
I can't disagree with that. So, okay. So these two guys are going to go dinner. I'm going to just stay away. I mean, like I said, I respect Washington at home, but I like this Utah team. And, yardage-wise, I mean, if they had known, I think if Slovis stayed in that game, I think Utah to beat USC because they had done their homework on Slovis. They put him out second play. They had no clue on Fink what to expect, and Fink just came in no pressure on him, just started airing it out. So USC could not run the ball at all, and Utah ran roughshod as far as on the ground. Did turn it over a couple times, and that was key in that loss at Southern Cal, their only blemish on the year. Boise State at San Jose State. Boise State coming off the bye. The only thing that ticks me off, I know Bachmeier are going to be back. Cord and Henderson, 2 pretty good quarterbacks as well. Helani and Mahone out of the backfield I like for Boise State. Receiving core, Hightower and Shakir, pretty good. But I like San Jose State. Brennan doing a great job. They're 4-4. They beat Army outright. Again, not a great Army team. Army actually made that close at the end. The game was really never in doubt if you had San Jose State. Jordan Love's been outstanding. Had 3 more touchdowns, no picks. Parker on the ground, not bad. And Walker and Hamilton had great games, combined for 182 and a touchdown. I'm going to look at San Jose State with 17 points. I know Boise State beats up a lot of these type teams, and they just, pull away. But something about San Jose State, it's the first meaningful game to where I think they're going to have a good crowd at home because I think people see the hard work and Brennan getting this team to respectability. I think San Jose State's got a chance to hang in this game inside 10 points.
Oh, wow. I'm passing.
Very bold. No, I like San Jose State as well. I think that if Boise State just runs consistently, they could win this game by 17 points, but they're not going to. They're going to try to throw it a lot because that's how Brian Harsin likes to operate. San Jose State's got a decent quarterback with 4 good wide receivers. They have a serviceable offense. They're not going to turn the ball over a lot. I like San Jose State with the points here.
All right, and then Hawaii at home, -2.5 now against Fresno State, 69 the total. Cole McDonald, how about first series against New Mexico? He had a 76-yard touchdown run last week, threw for 237, just 1 touchdown, but he rushed for 2 more. Miles Reed had 97 on the ground, and Noah stepped up. Kamoko Noah with 4 receptions, 120 and a touchdown. You already have Bird, Sharsh, Ward, these guys outstanding at 13 receptions last week. Fresno State off the loss at home. George Reyna struggled against Colorado State. No touchdowns, 2 picks, only 200 yards passing. Ronnie Rivers did his job, 146 on the ground and 2 touchdowns, but a lot of that was after they got down double digits. So I'm not looking for, I think that I had said, I thought this Fresno State team was way down compared to the last 2 years where Tedford's dominated as far as against the point spread. Jared Rice, as good as he is, really hasn't had a great year. Ronnie Rivers, that was really his first real good game last week. I just think Fresno State is sucking wind right now, and I think Hawaii can blow them out.
I'm on Hawaii here.
Yeah, I agree. Hawaii has too many athletes. They have a much more explosive offense. I'm not a big Reyna guy. I am a McDonald guy. I like the wide receiver weapons. I'm on Hawaii.
Brad, last thing, FCS game, Clemson at Wofford at Clemson. Wofford catching 45, down from 47, 58 the total. Worth betting at all?
Under is where I'm going. Wofford, keep in mind, runs the option, so I'd lean dog and under.
There it is. All right.
That's an absolute pass for me, KT.
Yeah, but Brad does. He's all over this FCS stuff, and
it's good.
Yeah, he's made some money.
The Terriers, right? Wofford.
Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, getting into basketball. They had a nice team
they
last
get
year
confused
too. I think I had them about 1,000-1 last year to win the national championship.
Heck of a shooting guard too.
Yeah.
What
was his name?
Boy, you know what? I'm seeing the guy launching him from 27 feet. You know what? It's crazy when you get out of season. Sometimes all these.
I can't remember either.
You know what? And it'll come to me while I'm giving out one of these NFL games here. Let me move on down as far as the NFL so we can duck all that in. We'll start with the 6:30 a.m. Pacific time game over there from London. Houston and Jacksonville, first time these two played. It was Minshew's game to win as he drove the team down for a touchdown, but they went for 2 down 13-12 at NRG, didn't get it, and the Texans came away with the victory. Now it's Houston favored by 1.5, but we know no J.J. Watt. He's out for the year. Brad, I'm going to throw it to you. You're going to tell me who that guard was, and I'm
Fletcher McGee.
Fletcher McGee. That's it.
That's
boy,
right,
how can I
Fletcher.
forget? Houston -1.5, 46.5 against Jayville. Boy, this is going to be a good one. It's a big game for both teams.
It is. I'm on Jacksonville. I mean, they're used to going to London. 7th straight year going to London, and they're 3-1 their last 4 visits after they figured it out. Houston has never been to London in their entire franchise history. Give me Jacksonville.
And I believe their owner is from London. If
Khan?
I'm not mistaken. I believe he is British. Their owner is British. I like the Texans here. They have too many weapons at wide receiver. I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars have a lot of talent at wide receiver. The Texans are actually very good against the run. Fournette is a big part of that offense, and Deshaun Watson is an absolute monster. Whether J.J. Watt,
He's going to be running for his life in this game.
Yeah,
Jacksonville is a really good pass rush.
That's probably true.
And that one you write down as a dinner bet.
I
in
am
the
right
NFL.
there. I'm
Thank you
putting
very
Brad
much.
and JD.
Yeah, okay.
KT is going to stay away and
I
watch
can wake
that
up
one.
early in the morning.
I'll
Start
just-
counting money early.
There you go. That's good. 6:30 a.m. All right, Washington and Buffalo. Keenum is out for the Skins. Buffalo going to lay 10.5, 36.5 the total, Brad.
Lean Buffalo. I just cannot bet on Haskins. I think Buffalo really get after him.
Yeah, lean under here, KT.
Leaning under the 36.5. A Buffalo team, I don't know how good this Bills team is. I mean, the offense struggles. We remember the game against Miami. They get a 10-point win, but they had to return an onside kick. It's
And
a
then
nice
last
record.
week, Philadelphia just ran right over him.
Right. And you knew the crowd was going to be into that. Buffalo had a chance to go to 6-1, and they don't. 5-2.
But when you get 4 games total against the Jets and the Dolphins, that makes you a playoff caliber team.
That does help.
Yeah.
You'll see if they get it. But JD, you still like under 36.5, right?
Absolutely.
I actually found a 37 for you, JD.
Yeah.
So we'll mark that
There you
down.
go. That's a key number.
There we go. That's
There you
solid.
go. Buff in Washington. Okay, and nothing for you, Brad, because you can't bet on Haskins, right?
Can't bet on Haskins. Lean Buffalo.
Lean Buffalo. Tennessee and Carolina. Carolina, after getting pasted in San Francisco, 3.5, 42 against Tennessee. And I like playing a team that gets pasted off a bye, that's going home, that says, like, what the hell hit us? Well, I'll tell you what hit you. One of the best defenses, one of the best running games in the NFL, and Garoppolo doing his job now. So I think Carolina's going to roll over Tennessee. 42 is the total. I think Carolina big in this game. I just have a feeling they're going to come back and be refocused. There's sometimes you can say, throw that game out. And if it's a one-score game and you lose, you can't really throw it out because you start nickel and dime and thinking, God, if we did this right or if we did that play. When you lose and you give up 50-plus to a Niners team and you just get blown out by 30-plus, there's too many plays that you screwed up to do that, to nitpick. I think Carolina says, let's throw it out. Let's get refocused. Understand we have a long ways to go if we want to do anything as far as getting to the postseason and doing any damage in the postseason, because you just saw the separation between the Niners and ourselves. I think Rivera has them ready. I like Carolina to roll.
I'm with you, KT. And you mentioned awful big blowout loss. Well, 30 years in the NFL, teams that are off a 35 or more point loss cover 56% of the time the next week. Hey, 56%, you can be a professional bettor with that. And the sample size is like 160 games. And on top of that, Tennessee's a phony team. Look at their last 2 games. What they needed 3 overturned calls against the Chargers to win that game. And then they needed another help from the refs last week, a early whistle. Otherwise, that's a return touchdown. I love Carolina.
Yeah, I like Tennessee here.
Yeah, that cost.
Ooh, there you go.
You got it? Okay.
I think they have a top 5 secondary. You watch the Panthers game against the Niners. That was just a matter of Allen showing who he really is. And Tennessee's got Jeffrey Simmons back. They've got a lot of talent on the defensive line. McCaffrey's going to get his 100 and his 2 touchdowns because, in my opinion, he's the MVP. But I like Tennessee with the points here, KT.
Okay, so we're going to give you the 3.5, JD, and we'll do that. We'll have a little fun here, but we'll go C note on that one. C note here.
Are we actually wagering right
Yeah,
now?
we can.
Wow.
We can because there's
You
too
know
many dinners.
yeah,
There's too many. Just a small C note. We'll do a couple C note bets every week. We'll see.
Yeah.
Just having
You
some
can
fun.
tell he's
you like
confident.
It?
Yeah.
I really like Carolina.
I didn't say I loved it, but I do like it. I do
No,
like
okay,
it.
no, that's all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, okay, well,
I'm fine with at some point doing something.
We'll let you. We'll let
Caught me
you.
off
We'll
guard
let
a
you
bit.
pick one of the. We'll let you pick one of the other games for
Yeah.
a C note down the line.
That sounds good. We
All
can
right,
do that.
we'll see how things pan out
like
there.
that.
Chicago and Philly. Philly down to 4 some places, 4.5 some other places, 41.5 the total. City of brotherly love. I don't get this line. I think Chicago, I know, look, Trubisky, maybe he gets it together. Jordan Howard, to me, nearly 100 yards last week in the win at Buffalo. And I think, Philly going home, I think Howard's going to have a big game. This pass rush for Chicago is non-existent. There is not a Raider fan that is talking about how bad the Khalil Mack move was anymore. You know why? Because it doesn't matter. They're not getting any sacks. Not him, not the Bears. You know why? Because Hicks isn't there.
Exactly.
And so if Mack doesn't have Hicks to help out, he's getting doubled. They're done. I can't see this team stopping Philadelphia, for long term, and I really can't see Chicago scoring a lot of points. I think this is one of the worst lines that I've seen as far as the sportsbooks putting it out. Look, call me square, whatever. I think Philly's going to crush Chicago.
I'm with you, KT. Give me Philadelphia. Just from an emotion standpoint, Philadelphia, to me, feels like they saved their season last week. They needed that win against Buffalo, blowout win. Chicago outplayed the Chargers. But to outplay a team and then come down to a missed kick, just like it did against Philadelphia in the playoffs last year, to miss that, what is their feeling? I mean, it almost feels like
three
season
times
over.
in the first half, settling for a field goal. At the end of the first half, have to settle for a chip shot because you can't get in the end zone.
Yeah, I don't get the line either. Give me the Eagles.
And they can't kick. They can't kick field goals. So, the line should be 6, or should probably be 7 flat, maybe 7.5. I agree, KT, that this line is very, very odd. I don't see give me an advantage that the Bears have over the Eagles, even at wide receiver. I mean, who's gonna score on Ronald Darby and Sidney Jones and Russell Douglas and Malcolm Jenkins? I love the Eagles. How can you not?
It is. It's actually my favorite play of the week is Philadelphia as far as the NFL. Minnesota's at Kansas City, still waiting to see if Patrick Mahomes goes. Now, he's listed as questionable. If I'm KC, I'm not rushing him back. I still have a 1.5 lead over the Raiders. Why would I do that? Why would I risk him? But we saw Drew Brees come back when a lot of us said, hey, you got a bye coming up.
Yeah.
Why rush him back? And what does he do? Throws for 360+, and they roll over Arizona. Brees looking very sharp. So, they know their guy. If they feel he's ready and capable and close to 100%, maybe they play him. Kansas City at home against Minnesota. Look, Minnesota, they're no worse than the Packers, and the Packers went up and down the field on that defense. Now, Rodgers did make some miracle passes, too. Boy, this is tough. I think, like Fezzik said, he thinks that Mahomes is not going to play. So he said in a few places where you can find laying 1.5 or 2, if you bet Minnesota now.
It's going to 3.
Yep. So you're probably going to be able to get your buyback. So I'll look at Minnesota based on that.
Yeah, I'm on Minnesota here. Even if Mahomes ends up playing, I want to be on Minnesota here no matter what. It comes down to this. Mike Zimmer against non-divisional opponents, 73% against the spread. We're talking 60 games. We're talking 5 years, 73%. Give me the Vikings.
You know what? The more I think about the Minnesota Vikings, the more I think they might win the Super Bowl. I'm not even kidding you. Kirk Cousins leads the league in completion percentage at 72.1%. He leads the league in yards per completion at 9.3%. Right, at 9.3 yards. Dalvin Cook is number 2 in the league in rushing. They probably have the best offense in the NFL. They have four good cornerbacks to counter a good offense. I like the Vikings either way. I'm with you, Brad, on that. I love the Vikings here.
If you told me that the playoffs had to go through Minneapolis, I'd agree with you. I mean, I think that's one of the best home field advantages. Yeah. I just, there's a lot of ground to make up. San Francisco's up and coming, still unblemished.
Yeah. Green Bay, they're trailing them.
New Orleans now with Brees
New Orleans
back.
is one-dimensional. San Francisco just lost Quan Alexander, and they can be run on. The Vikings are solid across the board. They do not have a weakness, KT. I'm telling you.
They're going to be on the road, though, maybe in the playoffs.
Kamara's got to come back strong. I mean, that's big. But you're right. I mean, when you look at guys like Ingram not being there anymore, that was a big part of that offense.
That was a big deal.
Yeah,
that's Taysom Hill.
I agree. I do like Taysom Hill, though. That wrinkle in there, with him rushing, with him able to pass the ball, receive the ball. He's one of those versatile.
Well, he could do that 4 times.
Jose Akendo type from the St. Louis Cardinals, the utility player, man. Remember, they played all 9 positions. One of those
serious.
games.
I made a big wager on the Vikings today at 18-1 to win the Super Bowl.
There you go. I'm not going to say that's not great value because it probably is. Jets and Miami. Sam Darnold probable. What does that mean? I don't really know because he hasn't looked good at all. Jets -3, minus some juice, -120 at Miami. Miami's playing hard, but when you start doing stupid stuff like blitzing 7 with 20 seconds left in the first half when it's a 3rd and 20 on the Monday night game against Pitt, I'm like, how moronic can you be? I mean, if you're trying to tank, I mean, just take your whole team off the field and let them score because that's basically what it looked like. It was absolutely ridiculous. Worst case scenario, you give up a first down, they're going to get a field goal. You give up a touchdown because you blitz 7. one of the most moronic things I've ever seen. It was so obvious, it was ridiculous if you're trying to give that game away so you don't lose any ground with the Bengals. But you play the Bengals. You can blow that game if you want.
Yeah.
I don't get it, Brad. What about it?
Disgusting.
I lean Miami here.
Yeah, total pass, KT. These teams are just embarrassing.
Yeah, I can't take Miami anymore. It's I don't know how hard they're going to try and
3
throw
straight
these.
covers.
Yeah, but you're only getting 3, so I don't know. You're going to have to win the game outright to cover it, I think. James Conner is doubtful for Pittsburgh. It's a pick'em game against Indianapolis. Right now I'm seeing Pittsburgh -1
And
some
T.Y. Hilton's
places.
out, too.
Yeah, I don't see that. 40
Yeah, he
and a
is
half.
out.
Is he
Got
That's-
announced
that's-
today out.
Yeah, that's a major blow. Yeah, they're a different team without him, no question. And I'm not sold on Jacoby Brissett. I think he has a good game, has a bad game, has a good game, has 2 bad games. So I don't know how good this Colt team is. I do like the offensive line. I do like the defense when Leonard's there. I'll stay away from this one because Pittsburgh getting some false motivation off a fraudulent win against a Miami team that had no business even being up points early, 14-0.
I lean Pitt here.
Yeah, I lean under KT. I think that without T.Y., they're going to have a hard time scoring. This Pitt team has a lot of really, really good athletes. They're going to apply a ton of pressure to Brissett. But if Connor isn't playing, the Colts have a pretty decent defense as well. And not going to be a lot of points in this game.
Detroit and Oakland, this should be a great game. Both teams need this game. Detroit sitting at 3-3-1. Raiders at 3-4. Raiders are back up to 2.5. It was there, and then it got down to 1.5. I'm on the Raiders. I mean, I know people go, you're a homer. No, you know what? I'm looking at this team. I like a couple pieces that have just been put in place recently. Trevor Davis, a few weeks now. Zay Jones, last week, first time getting the ball. Tyrell Williams, foot healthy now. I love it. I think Waller's going to have another big game at tight end. I'm not saying that Stafford can't move the ball. This is probably a game that's going to go up and over that total of 50.5. I'm going to take the Raiders, and I'd look at the over, but I think the Raiders are going to win the black hole. It's going to come into play. They're going to get a sack on Stafford. The Raiders have 13 sacks this year in 7 games. They had 13 all last year. Brad?
I lean over here.
Love over here. Raiders are actually really good against the run. The Lions have lost all their running backs. They're going to pass the entire game to be competitive in this one. It's got to go over. I love the over at 50.5.
And don't know if Rodney Hudson goes. I think he'll go, but the Raiders have not given up a sack in 3 of their games so far this year.
And Carr's 70. He's actually tied with Cousins at 72.1 completion percentage.
There you go. So you're talking about a team getting protected and a team finally putting pressure on the opposing quarterback. Tampa Bay's at Seattle. Seattle down to 5 now, 52.5. It's gone under that key number of 6.5, what it was early. It's tough to go against Seattle at home, but they've not played well at home this year. Seattle -5, 52.5, Brad.
Yeah, they haven't won a home game by more than a point this year. I just think you got 2 misleading finals from last week giving you value. Tampa Bay should have beaten Tennessee. Seattle, I know, jumped up big, but statistically outgained by 200 yards against Atlanta. That's pathetic. That's the second game this year that they.
Matt Schaub throws for 450
Yeah, I mean,
plus.
come on. I mean, I get it. The scary thing is back in Jameis Winston, who's a turnover machine. But if he can keep it just to maybe 2 turnovers instead of 4 or 5,
Right.
I like Tampa here.
And you've got a lot of guys out for Seattle secondary. Their secondary is not very good. Tampa Bay's front 7 defensively, I would say, is the best in the NFL. Front 7-wise, they're great against the run. Seattle needs Carson, to run the ball to get that offense moving. Tampa Bay is going to score points. I like Tampa a lot.
Cleveland getting a lot of money in Denver. No Joe Flacco. Browns up to 4. Still some 3.5s and actually a 4.5 popping up over there at the Westgate.
Wow.
Denver going to catch points at home, 39 the total. Still got a solid defense, but they've been banged up. Lost Chubb for the year. I mean, this is just a game I want to stay away from. But I think Cleveland can get it together. We'll see where the mindset is of Baker Mayfield going through all that media debacle over the week. Your take, Brad?
Yeah, I'm going to lean under here. Obviously, the market's fading Brandon Allen, the quarterback for Denver. For them, smallest hands in the NFL, 8 7/8 inches. So what I did, me and Fez before the show today, we measured our hands the way the NFL does it. And they measure it from the end of your pinky to your thumb. Our hands are way bigger than Brandon Allen's. I can play quarterback.
Really?
It was like 3/4 of an inch bigger than Brandon Allen's. Both of our hands were.
That is crazy. I like the Browns here. Chubb actually ran for 140 against the Patriots. Mayfield was 20 of 31 with the touchdown. They have Denzel Ward back, Greedy Williams back. Who are the Broncos throwing the ball to? Cortland Sutton. That's really it. Garrett's going to have a big game, I think, because Juwan James, I'm pretty sure, is out as well. I like the Browns here.
Smallest hands in the league for a long time was David Craig, and he led the league in fumbles.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole gripping the football. Yeah.
I mean, you see Favre Favre had giant
and
mitts,
Wilson.
you saw what he did.
as short as Russell Wilson is, he has some of the biggest hands in the NFL.
All right, so we'll see how things.
You know what they
pan
say
out
about big hands, KT?
for Brandon Allen. What do they say, Brad?
Big gloves.
Oh, there you go. Great stuff. I knew you had something there for you.
I
So I just figured I'd
they were
get
going to
to
say
it.
Donald Trump.
There you go. All right, real quick, got a few minutes to go. Got 4 games to get to. What about Green Bay and the Chargers from L.A.? It'll be a Green Bay crowd. You can bet on that. You saw the Pittsburgh crowd. I think you get more of the same. Green Bay minus 3.5, 48.5. It's a team that just finds ways to win, and Aaron Rodgers is that guy. But Aaron Jones, the guy, him and his brother Alvin at UTEP, we made some money on those guys when they were both there.
Yep.
Alvin was a great defensive player. Always led them in tackles by like 40 over the next guy. I love Aaron Jones, man. And I don't know if Devontae Adams is back yet, but if he is, that only helps things.
Today.
Yeah, it's hard for me not to go with Green Bay. And, the Chargers come away with a 1-point victory. You want to get on this team, but I'm not sold on that offense yet. I can only look Green Bay.
I'm leaning over here. I mean, Chargers can't run the ball, so we might as well just start chugging all over the field.
Exactly.
All right, both guys on the over there.
Well, yeah, but that being said, Green Bay's defense is that Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith, they do really well rushing the quarterback. Rivers does not handle pressure well. Green Bay's wide receivers are all 6'5", whether it's Kumro, Lazard, whatever. I like Green Bay in the over.
All right, there we go. And then the Sunday night game will be New England playing Baltimore. Baltimore off the bye. The Patriots just keep winning. Pats minus 3 now, just 3, even not 3.5 anymore, 44.5
2
the total.
minutes.
And JD, we're going to start with you because I know you really love this Sunday night game.
Yeah, I love the Ravens in this game. The Pats are very susceptible against the run. Again, if Nick Chubb doesn't fumble once off his lineman's leg, and at the Pats' 15-yard line after a 70-yard run, I think that they have a chance to actually win that game outright. The officiating was terrible in that game. Again, surprise, surprise, including the 2 offensive pass interference called late. I think the Ravens and the Patriots cannot run the ball. James White might not play. The Ravens match up well against that. I'm going to like the Ravens here.
Brad?
Yeah, I'm going to lean Baltimore here. I'd much prefer to have 3.5 here instead of the 3. You just don't win money long-term betting against New England.
Right.
I'll let you guys bet on the Ravens. I won't because when I bet against New England or the Yankees, I'm 10% in my lifetime. Every time I get on there, actually when I get on the team, that's when they lose. So maybe I'll bet on New England just to see them lose and help you guys out.
That would be
All right, Monday night game, Dallas and the Giants. They started the season on a Sunday nighter in Dallas. Now they're a Monday nighter in Jersey. Giants are catching 7, 48 the total, Brad.
Yeah, Dallas against the
1
NFC
minute,
East last
1.
12 games, 11-1 straight up, 11-1 against the spread against their division rivals, lean Cowboys.
Lean over here, KT. A lot of points in this primetime game.
All right, how about maybe including the Cowboys on a teaser down to 1? See
There
if
you
that
go.
comes into play. Keep the Monday night game alive. But I want to root for the Giants against Dallas. We'll see how things pan out. Great stuff. As always, Lakers got it done in overtime. Thanks to Campaign over here. Thanks to everybody at Legacy Stadium and the Venetian Palazzo. Thanks to Sean. Thanks to Brad. Thanks to JD. And thanks to you, the listeners. Till Monday, you know the rules. No drinking and driving. No texting and driving. Most of all, God bless our troops. God bless you. Live from Vegas Sports 6 Radio. The new 101.5 FM 720 and KDWN. I'm Ken Thompson. Had a great time. Have a great weekend, everybody. Talk to you Monday. God bless. Good night, everybody.
All right, Ken. Thank you. Take care.